Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 16th of April, 2020. This is The Gap, episode 512. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here, and we don't have any goats on this show, surprisingly. Have you heard about this that's going on?
No, what? Goats?
Yeah, so like some farm I think in the US somewhere has started up like a this Zoom service where you can invite animals into your meetings.
Right.
And they're making a fuckload of money.
Why? Why?
Because it's smart.
It's weird. First of all, it's weird. And second of all, we do have a goat on this show. Me. I'm the greatest of all time at game reviews. Okay, so...
Boom. That was my setup.
Yep.
I did that on purpose.
Oh, I could tell. Because it was so clean. It was such a, as alley-oops go, then we fucking nailed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... Because I've seen a lot of people, like I was doing a fucking interview the other day, and like it was a big group interview, and right at the end, they were like, "Oh, any other questions?" And like there were some good questions, some fine questions. I didn't ask any questions because on top of the group interview, I was also doing one-on-one. So I'm like, I'm not giving any of these motherfuckers my actual questions.
And they already asked how many pixels were in the hair, and you were like, "Damn it."
Polygons were in the guns. So I'm like, oh fuck this shit, I'm out. So I'm just like waiting for them to finish signing off, and someone chimes in and like, can we get your dog back on camera? And
all you hear is Joby has left the meeting.
Dead serious. That's exactly what happened. Like. The interview subject, the interviewee, stood up to go get the dog. I'm like, fuck this. Peace. I'm peacing out of this. I've got no fucking time for this shit. I don't give a fuck about some dude's dog. It had wandered into the room during the interview, and like it's sort of been in the background.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that cute a dog. Like, get the fuck out of here. Come on. I get pissed off that you keep opening the fucking door. Like, that's the worst thing about being able to see you. Everyone listening to this audio podcast, as they should be, they don't have to see this, but Luke, like every fucking, 8 minutes or so, will open his door and then close his door while staring at the camera like some fucking weirdo. And it's to, I assume, let the cats in?
Yeah.
Or out, or whatever.
Those two. Correct. Because otherwise they sit there and they'll like start making noise or start like scratching at the door, and it just gets worse. They want to know why the door is shut, basically. Like, this door shouldn't be shut. Why is it shut? You must open it now.
They're like your parents when, you just turned 13 and like, why is this door shut, mister? You're like, fucking, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, mum. Because of wanking. Anyway, trying to catch a wanking is what I'm driving at. Anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I've overshared already in this podcast, so I don't know. Let's move on. What else is going on? How's San Fran? Are you still in lockdown?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did my my first virtual doctor appointment this week, which was interesting.
What?
First virtual doctor's appointment. Like,
doctors.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not accepting patients into rooms at the moment, so they're doing everything virtually. So you talk to them via Zoom, I guess, and then if they decide they need to see you in person, then they can do that. I guess they're just trying to mitigate, obviously, the spread of this virus.
Contact, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that stuff is. I went out of the house for that. And did some shopping, but otherwise it's business as usual here. It's still nothing much going on. We bought my wife bought a bar cabinet, extremely large bar cabinet, because we've got the last month or I don't even know how long we've been in lockdown for at this stage, 6 weeks or something. Basically every week the fridge has been, I'd say, a quarter full of alcohol and the rest of it like food for the week. But it got to the point where we had so much alcohol that it was just sort of in boxes and shit. Just
have you considered not buying more alcohol?
See, that's the problem.
Better buy a bar fridge.
It gets to like Friday, and it's like 3:00, and I'm just like, when are we drinking? But she'll be still working because she works very hard. And then it gets to about 5, and I'm like cracking cans open. And generally that's when we start drinking. So like, Friday's drinking, and then Saturday's drinking and video games, and then Sunday's a bit more drinking. So we've got to put all this stuff somewhere. But we've gotten to the point now where we've started expanding, and we've obviously bought a lot of wine as well. And with wine, you kind of buy it and leave it there for a little bit. Like it's for occasions sometimes, unless you go buy like stuff you kind of want to drink, like cheap wine.
Like
I'm going to drink it tonight.
In the dune bag.
Yeah, as opposed to being like,
something in a peg to the clothesline. Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah, that's not in a bag. I don't think they do bags. I haven't seen any.
No, I'm pretty sure that's an Australian only thing.
Yeah, right.
I was talking to someone who reckoned they're... Oh, yeah. One of the dudes I play Warzone with reckons his granddad or great-granddad invented the goon bag. And it was like by accident or some shit. He was a doctor trying to invent something else. Yeah. And he's like, I could probably chuck wine in this.
And it worked. Yeah. So we've gotten like to a spot where we got too much wine, and then on top of that, the spirits, your Jack Daniels or your vodkas and your gins and all that sort of stuff, like running out of spots for that. So, and we were going to get a bar cabinet at some stage. We needed to put it somewhere. So she's bought that, and then that's starting to fill up. We got more alcohol coming. She put in like an order yesterday for a bunch of alcohol.
Just stop buying it.
But wait, we haven't gone there yet. On top of that, she's now doing a masterclass where they teach you how to mix cocktails and things like that. So we're currently watching that because we're going to make cocktails during...
What the fuck is that? Like, your favorite cocktail is like
Coke,
random amount of Coke and too much fucking bourbon. Yeah, like it seems like it's wasted on you. Good lord.
Yeah.
Fucking, you guys are just. You got this. This seems like a downward spiral type moment. This seems like a intervention type thing. Like I should probably step in here.
No, I think you're fine because
buying a shit ton of gin as well.
During the doctor's appointment, they asked like standard questions, whatever, and he was like, "So how much do you drink every week?" And I'm like, "Well, at the moment, we're drinking a lot." And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And he's like laughing, like, "Yeah, like so am I," type thing.
Good lord.
Yeah. Anyway, so lots of drinking.
My problem drinking wise has been that I don't I've been getting up really early,
right?
Like at basically 6 on the dot now.
Yeah.
Because I guess daylight savings means that 6 on the dot is 7.
Yeah.
And I was already waking up at like 6:37, but now it's just straight up 6 o'clock. No, not for work. I just fucking wake up then.
That's what they're calling old man Joab.
Because the 3 planes that are allowed to fly around Australia now all directly like stream over my fucking apartment.
Right.
As soon as the curfew lifts at Sydney Airport. So I just I hear that and like I'm awake. And yeah, so 6 o'clock. So I've been finding because like nobody else is awake at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I do work.
I'm awake.
Well, yeah, but you've literally not been responding to anything all week. You have been, I assume, down a Final Fantasy VII Remake rabbit hole. So every time we're like, "Oh, you want to play a game?" You say nothing, and we just me and Nate just play on our own.
Well, generally now because of the time shift, it's a little bit harder because when you guys are jumping on, I'm guessing it's about 5. No. Like just after lunch or something?
Like 3 to
5-ish.
5, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, that is like when I'm just finished having dinner, or like we're watching TV, like a TV show or a movie or something like that. So
A film, as you described it.
A film.
A film.
I don't.
Luke watches films now. He doesn't watch movies. I'm watching a film.
No, I definitely watch movies because most of them recently have been pretty bad.
Oh yeah. What were you watching when you were watching a film? When you said you were watching a film?
What day was this? So here's
Last Thursday night, Friday night. Oh, our time. Oh no, it must have been your time. Yeah.
10th. We Summon the Darkness.
What the fuck is that?
It is a
film.
It's a, I guess, a horror thriller. Okay. Horror film about these cult killings that are going on, and these 3 women get sort of entangled in it all, and things don't work out as you'd hope, I guess, for them.
Film things happen.
Yeah, it's not great. Like the last 6 or 7 movies I've watched have been pretty average. But sorry, not even average. Below average.
Did you watch Underwater?
No, not yet. I don't think it's out here yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watched John Wick 3 again on the weekend.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since we watched it twice in one.
Still a 5-star film. All of them.
Fantastic
So
movie.
good.
It is so good. But yeah, otherwise I haven't really been watching movies. Oh, I watched all the Tiger King finally. I watched The Tiger King and I could not have guessed where that fucking TV show was going. But yeah, The Tiger King and I is that follow-up.
With John McHale.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I saw some people complaining, but these are the same people, like my little brother, who like went full fucking crazy down the Tiger King rabbit hole, and he's like, I already knew all this shit. I already knew that the meth dude with no teeth had like gotten his act together and stuff like that. You know, this is nothing new. I'm like, yeah, but it's not for you. It's not for the fucking Tiger King lunatics. It's for the people who sort of watched Tiger King and made some Carol Baskin memes and then fucking moved on with their lives.
Yeah.
And what like and
did nothing else about it.
Yeah.
Well, so I watched it, and there's a moment like they clear up a bunch of stuff. Obviously, like a lot of them or some of them aren't happy with their portrayals, and they understand it's a documentary. There's supposed to be storylines, and that's kind of the way things work. But there was a moment during the film where, without spoiling it, like the campaign manager, something happens to him.
Oh yeah,
involving someone else, and I was like, oh, they're going to touch on this subject. And he talks about it, but he sort of clears something up because I thought something else happened, but his takeaway is that it wasn't that, it was something else. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. So like me, I didn't go through that whole, reading up on the internet about what happened with these people. I just kind of watched that last interview with them. So yeah, definitely fills some holes and that sort of stuff. But do you think that she did it?
Yeah, she did.
Absolutely.
She killed her husband. Like 100%. Of course. I saw Louis Theroux reckons that she probably didn't. That was what he said. Unlikely that she killed her husband. Like, mate, that's what makes it so fucking certain. That's what makes it guaranteed that she did it.
Yeah.
The fucking nugget of doubt in your mind that why would someone do that? But
why would he just disappear off the face of the earth? Like
right?
This millionaire.
Yeah. The weekend he's going to divorce her. Like, trying to dig through that one. But yeah, anyway. Cool. What I was going to say is, I wake up really early. I start doing work immediately, and then like I get to like 3:30, and I'm like, well, I'm fucking done. I'm done for the day. So I'm gonna, I don't know.
So you're not doing 9 to 5. You're doing 7 to 3, and bam.
Yeah, basically. And it's like Marge when they moved to the fucking Mr. Scorpion's town.
Yeah, sure.
In The Simpsons, and she like the house cleans itself. She's like,
So she
well, I
starts
guess I'll
drinking.
drink. Yeah, that's basically what's happening with me. Except I get fucking, I'm sorted by like 6 o'clock then. Like 3 hours drinking when you don't have any beer in the house and all you've got is whiskey, and like a fuck ton of whiskey. Like it is quick. Like it fucking sorts itself out pretty quickly. And yeah, anyway. I don't think I need an intervention, but I'm starting to think you might, because you just keep buying more. If you buy a fucking bar fridge to store all the booze you have, I think you've gone too far. The next
not
step,
a fridge, it's
you'll
just
be
a cabinet.
So it's not fucking motorized. It's still like a fucking box.
You've got a box, you've got a shelf behind you.
That's because that's fucking classy as fuck, baby. The next step is you hire a storage unit as a wine cellar.
Well,
I've got a friend who does that, and it's about the wankiest thing I can think of. It is insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can get to the point where you've got an actual cellar, like a.
Well, you'd actually, yeah. Like I don't understand how you're going to have an actual cellar in San Francisco, unless you guys are way richer than I thought. In which case, like, what the fuck? But yeah, they like these. The friend I've got who rents a wine cellar is stupid fucking rich, and yeah, he'd still need to be even richer. Like he lives in a place. His place has like views of the Sydney Harbour, and he can like sit on his roof for New Year's to watch the fucking fireworks and that kind of shit. Like stupid, idiotic. In Sydney, their house is worth like millions.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying is he isn't rich enough to have a cellar in his place.
Right.
So you'd have to be fucking crazy rich. I assume. It's economies of scales. What the fuck do I know about rich? You know?
I know.
Jeff Bezos is probably like, I have 8 of those houses that he has, and they're just there to house my cellars. I don't even use the upstairs bits. They're just there for the cellar part. And I just fill the apartment with wine. That kind of shit.
You know, LeBron likes to drink a little bit at night.
Oh yeah,
while he's having food.
He loves he loves to eat, pray, and love. Yes.
Yeah. I had a look at like some of the wine he was drinking the other day.
Yeah.
And it ain't cheap wine. LeBron James does not drink cheap wine during dinner.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. Doesn't he spend like $1 million a year on body upkeep?
Right, yeah.
Like just keeping his body in tip-top shape.
It's because he's drinking $500 US bottles of wine every night.
Right. Yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've digressed. Video games. Hey, before we start, I want to talk about Stardew Valley.
Okay.
It's not on the list because I haven't been playing it. But my wife was getting a bit like cabin fevery on the weekend. And she wanted to watch movies and stuff like that. And I wanted to, not. And
you wanted to keep drinking. You were like, get out of here. And slam the door.
This is my office. It's where I work. Glug, glug, glug.
Do some farming.
So I put Stardew Valley on the Switch and set her up to play it. And she fucking loves that game. Holy shit. She's way down it. Like I don't think she was having a lot of fun at first. She was like she was doing stuff. She didn't really know what she was doing and all this kind of stuff. And like she was annoyed at some of the things that it did because like she planted some crops at the wrong time in the season and it fuck up her whatever. And now she's fucking way in. She's like balls deep. She's like playing it at all hours. Like anytime she's not working, she's now playing Stardew Valley, which is, I think, adorable as fuck. And I just wanted to point it out. Anyway, Stardew Valley, good stuff.
Any interest in like Animal Crossing at all?
No, so she knew about Stardew Valley because she listens to a shitload of podcasts. She listens to podcasts while she plays Stardew Valley. She's like fucking multitasking. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be like, what? Which one am I doing here? Am I listening to these motherfuckers or anyway? Yeah. So yeah, she was listening and they were talking about Animal Crossing and she'd heard that Animal Crossing was just a shit version of Stardew Valley, because it involves time gate stuff, which is true. I don't understand. I think I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but Animal Crossing is literally just Farmville. It's literally just Farmville.
Yeah.
But somehow everyone's fucking in on it.
Because it's a Nintendo game.
Because it's a Nintendo game. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Stardew Valley isn't like that. It's all self-contained. Yeah. Anyway. Cool. That's about it. Video games.
Yep.
What do we want to say? While we're talking about stuff out of left field, I played Slay the Spire. I played Slay the Spire on my tablet while having a bath because I installed Steam Link on my tablet.
Right.
And then I was able to fucking just play Slay the Spire from my computer on the fucking Steam Link.
Nice.
That was the fucking best shit ever. But not every game is linked up to Steam Link, so you can't play every game. Because my intention had been to play Monster Train, but Monster Train isn't available on Steam Link, probably because it's not out yet, because it's just a preview build or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, played Slay the Spire instead. It was surprising how quickly I fell back into nailing it with Slay the Spire. A lot of it just comes back very quickly. It's so different to Monster Train. Like the way you play it is like super different. So there was definitely some adjustment because I was mentally prepared to be playing Monster Train. But yeah, once I adjusted, yeah, Slay the Spire came back pretty naturally. There was a bunch of games that I could have been playing. I could have played fucking Dead Cells, but I didn't have like a controller plugged in or anything, so I don't think that would have worked very well. Would have been one of the on-screen control situations. You can like Bluetooth the controller into the to connect to the tablet and shit. Probably that works fine and stuff. I don't know if I necessarily want to play Dead Cells either. There wasn't like lag.
Yeah.
This is, on my home network. Obviously, my home network is up to the task of streaming data around. There wasn't like lag, but there were like it'd just sort of lose. It'd like switch. It'd very seamlessly switch to like fucking
different quality,
240p. Yeah, it'd be like real good quality, and then fucking garbage for like 5 seconds. And I think that would be enough. Like it wasn't like stuttering.
Yeah.
It was very fucking quick, very smooth, but I think it'd still be enough to throw you off in a game of Dead Cells type situation. Anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. Shall we talk about Monster Train now, or do you want to leave it for later?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Monster Train. I've been playing more Monster Train as well. I've beaten the final bosses finally. Cool. I've got a pretty good system in place that I think should work every single time. Where with the what is it, Umbra and Stygian clans, I really understand how they synergize together. Umbra is the death dealing cult that I think isn't available in the beta, and Stygian is they're the other clan that isn't available in the beta. But yeah, they're available in our preview build, and they will be available in the later game. Yeah, they just worked well together. You basically, the Umbra are the team that sort of you feed their own little I guess they've got these little morsel like units.
Yeah.
And so you play a morsel unit, and then at the end of the turn, the unit at the front will eat a morsel, and it will gain stats based on what that morsel does. So the morsel might be +2 health, or restore 6 health, or +5 attack, +2 rage, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got the Gorge card ability, and Gorge adds other effects. So it might be the champion for Umbra has a Gorge like effect that is +3 attack, +3 health, and so you can feed him up so that he's super buff throughout the game. I find him to be kind of useless, though, to be honest. So what I had was a unit that did Gorge. It started out 0 damage and quite a bit of health. 0 damage, but it would gain +2 anytime it ate a morsel. So it'd like feed up. And by the end of one of my games, this unit was doing fucking. I'd added multi-strike and sort of buffed it with extra health along the way. I'd spent a lot of money on just this one unit, basically. But by the end of the game, he was doing 190 damage twice. And the way buffing units up works in Monster Train is you can only buff them 3 times, so you got to be pretty careful. Like, if you, like, the first shop you come to that allows you to buff units might give you the option of, like, +4 attack.
Yeah.
Right? That's not worth it. It's just flat out not worth it. The only time it's worth it is when you've got, like, there are a couple of units that are, like, multi-strike 3.
Yeah.
So it will do 4 attacks. If you can chuck, but it only has, like, 1 damage on it.
Sure.
And then it'll also have like multi-strike 3 and like slay, add attack permanently or something like that.
Yeah.
And so all you really want is to get that unit killing things. And in that case, adding 4 damage is effectively adding 16 damage. And that's when it's worth it. But otherwise, 4 is never worth it, because later on you get the opportunity to add quick or multi-strike or whatever. So this Gorge unit, anytime it ate anything, it +2 attack for the rest of the game, whereas normally +3, the champion does +3 attack, +3 health for that battle only. So yeah, you're basically feeding this dude up. It takes a while, and he starts out pretty like low, but all you do is you put him on the highest tier, like highest level, and then every turn you just fucking feed him. You just constantly feed him shit, so that by the end, yeah, he was quick, multi-strike, and I think I buffed his health +8 health to make sure he lived, basically. And he was doing 190 times 2. The final boss has 666 damage. I had a card where if I spent 2 mana, I could add trample. And so what was happening, what wound up happening was I put my big guy on the bottom floor. I continued to feed him up, mostly just to heal him. I'd like use the +6, restore 6 health, or +3 lifesteal. But yeah, I put him, and I just continued to feed him. And what happened was the final boss slotted in below him or next to him, and like in front of him were 3 units, and like 2 of them had 100 health each, but he killed one of them in the first hit, and then the second killed that too, and then the unit behind that had like fucking 5 or something. It was a healer unit. And so he did like 85 damage beyond that, because I added trample.
Yeah. So it's not wasted,
by the time
basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's all this like extra damage. And then anytime you went to, like, nothing lived through that first floor. And anytime you went to the other floors, I had, like, nowhere near as big, but, like, quite big units sitting on those floors as well. And he'd get hit by them as well. And so by the time the final round came along, which is when it's the relentless round. So at the end of the waves of enemies, the final boss will show up and then just keep attacking until he kills your units or you kill him, and then he will kill that like floor and then move up to the next floor. By the time that final wave came, it was way too late. He died in the first fucking round, like just straight up dead. Never had a fucking hope. The boss was just fucking blitzed, and well, like this. By the end of that game, I had that guy on the first floor, and it was basically just an engine. Like at that point, an engine of destruction. They were sending people in to that floor to die because like they never made it out. The only time it came close, the only reason I didn't get like a flawless game was I opted in like an idiot, I think, to, at the start of a battle, you can modify to get bonuses. So you can add whatever, everyone has spell shield and you get plus 100 gold. I'd done that and everyone had 6 spikes. And that was very bad for my fat guy because he didn't have that much health. Right. Everyone he attacked. So it was basically, every time he attacked, he took a fuck ton of damage, and it was extremely. So a couple got through just based on that alone, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have been a flawless fucking run, which would have been pretty fucking good. But beefy. Anyway, I still love Monster Train. We found out we did an interview, right?
Yep.
Which you can listen to at the end of this podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Where we chat with the CEO of Shiny Shoe Studios. I don't know, basically he was talking about the share function. You can share challenges with people.
Right, yeah.
So you can share these runs that you do. So the run that I did, I can basically copy a code and then share it with you, and you're able to then attempt the run and to outdo my my attack.
Sure.
Oh, my points bonus, I guess. Whatever. I've tried it out. It's pretty cool. Like it's a good function. Like you basically set up with like all the same. You have to play as the same clan, and you get all the same artifacts and all the same cards offered and all that kind of stuff. Which I guess makes sense. And the only real difference is how you deploy everything.
Right.
And the choices you make, and whether or not you choose to go for the artifact bonus, which would lead to copying a shit ton and spikes damage, stuff like that. Yeah.
It's smart because it allows them to do things like daily challenges as well.
Yeah.
Where you can, you finish the game per se, but you can still jump in every once in a while and have a different sort of experience that everybody else is having, and some sort of leaderboard system and that sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly. And the way they do it is pretty like super clever as well, because it's really easily shared. Like it's just a code that immediately leads you to the I don't know, like once you click it, it takes you into the game and stuff. Yeah. Awesome. I definitely keen for it to come out and to try some people's challenges. Because I like what I liked about it. I don't want to do like challenges where you sort of you're doing like, this is a really tough one or whatever. I want to do like challenges where shit gets way out of hand. Like you sort of just like my one, right? Where the opportunity is to see how fucking fed you can get.
Yeah.
And if like, it sucks. It sucks that I can't share this code out on our Discord because nobody else is playing the preview build. Because I'd love to see how other people went with that one. Because they're like, maybe it's not the most, like, maybe I didn't play it the most efficient way, right? Like, maybe I fucked up. I actually actively remember a couple of times when I misplayed, but like maybe I fucked up in the sense that like maybe there's a far more efficient way to play it out.
Sure.
And yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Definitely keen to keep checking it out. It's my time waster at the moment. My computer time waster. I've got another time waster, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Monster Train. So obviously we've got an interview. That'll be at the end of the episode, but we can talk about that a bit more once we get to it. So stick around. Anyway, what else we got here? These other two games you've got, are they new or are they older games?
One of them isn't that new. One of them is brand new. So let's do the other time waster first. Antimatter Dimensions is an incremental clicker game on your phone where you are creating antimatter, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I've played it. I'm just gonna check my stats on it because it tells you all the stats and stuff. I've played it for 11 days, 15 hours, 16 minutes, and 32 seconds.
It's only on Android? Okay.
Yeah, or on PC, I guess.
What are you playing it on?
I'm on Android.
Okay.
It's very good on Android. So basically, it's a classic clicker game. You click, and it makes antimatter. You create these. So you've got dimensions, and you've got your dimensions, and you make the first dimension that makes antimatter. Make the second dimension, and that makes first dimensions. Make the third dimension, that makes second dimensions, and it cascades all the way down. And the numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And
love it already. It's good.
Oh yeah. And then you're trying to make infinite antimatter.
Yeah.
But infinity in this case has a number. I think it is exceeding the number that represents the amount of matter that exists. Because once you pass that amount, technically, I believe it would represent the idea that antimatter now outweighs the amount of matter in the world. So once you do that, once you reach infinity, then it changes. Then everything changes. You can break infinity. You can then have other dimensions, infinite dimensions, that power up your smaller dimensions, and you've got. It's hard to describe, I guess, without. You don't want to spoil it because it goes. It's not like cookie clicker crazy, but it is like part of the fun is the
discovery.
The discovery of much it keeps like changing everything.
Sure.
But you've got like it's a surprisingly active game. But it's active in its inactivity because what it's doing is it is getting you to pay attention to it so that you can maximize your efficiency in automating it. It's a game where, like, I remember when we were talking about cookie clicker, we were talking about how arguably an auto clicker, right, isn't isn't that big a deal in a cookie clicker, right? Like in a clicker game, having an auto clicker,
Yeah.
I personally don't think is cheating.
Well, not for that game. They had specifically designed elements so that
Yeah,
you were supposed to be using it.
exactly.
Right.
That's what that's the rabbit hole we went down when we were playing cookie clicker, however fucking many years ago. This game has a clicker, like an auto clicker, or at least a rapid fire clicker built in, but you have to like know how to use it. There's a trick to it. So you can press the max button on the bottom of the screen, on the bottom right of the screen, and you will hammer out as many as possible. But you can also, they've built it so that like the mobile app, the developer themselves has made it so that you can actually force that max button to be on at all times as long as the screen is on. If the screen turns off, the max button turns off. And you have to, like, it's not perfect. You can't, like, you got to do it in a certain way, and there's like little elements to it, but like it's there and it's deliberate, but it feels like a trick, which is very cool, and it's there to sort of make up for the fact that it's supposed to exist. Like an auto clicker is supposed to exist in this game, and yeah, which is cool. Yeah, there's all these achievements, and the more achievement, like when you complete a row of achievements, your dimensions get a like boost. So you're actively doing all these achievements. There's challenges, and the challenges give you boosts. There's auto buyers, and you can boost those auto buyers. You can bulk buy in the auto buyers and all this kind of stuff. And there's just this rabbit hole that you keep going down. The challenges are like can be pretty tricky, like fucking rough. But once you complete them, you know it winds up being quite worth it. And then for large, there is. I think the closest I came to turning it off was pretty recently, because you get to a point when you've got. What am I at the moment? I'm at. Oh, so at a certain point you stop making, or you stop caring about making any matter, and you care more about making infinities. And I'm currently at 9.3 to the power of 21, to like 9.3 with 21 zeros after it. Infinity points. When you get around the 7-0 infinity mark, the game slows to a fucking halt, and it is very annoying. And you sort of just have to grind your way out of that bit, but then it goes back to being good again. I don't know how they would fix that, because I don't really know the fucking ins and outs of the game. But I looked into it quite a bit, and it doesn't seem like it's something that they can fix. So you just sort of have to power through that bit, and then the game gets good again. But basically what you're doing after that is like you've got like to make an infinity points, you go past infinity, and then you get infinity points based on how far past infinity you go, and you have to crunch to get those points. And you get a crunch buyer. And so the active portion of the game after that point is trying to manipulate. Like there are a number of ways to determine your most efficient amount of crunch. Of infinity points per crunch, or per minute per crunch. Per crunch per minute, rather. And so basically what you're doing is you're watching that and trying to manipulate incrementally that so that you can get them like the most you can at a time. And I found generally when I get to a point where I've nailed that efficiency, that's when I will be earning, like, I'll like fucking, I don't know, I can then look and I'll be like, oh, in fucking, now I've got this at maximum efficiency, in about fucking 5 minutes I will have reached the next tier. And I'm gonna have to do all this shit again because all the fucking numbers are gonna change. and you can leave it. Like, you can absolutely leave it, and it's not that big a deal. You're slightly less efficient, but you can also, if you're so inclined, go in and actually adjust it again to try and find the efficiency. And it's got all, what's cool is it has all the tools there to allow you to do that stuff. And I know there's way more coming as well. Like, it gets loonier from where I'm at. But yeah,
cool.
It's a good clicker game. It's a good little time waster. And yeah, as an idle game, I don't think it doesn't seem to take up too much battery either. Like, not that heinous on the battery usage, which is surprising. Because a number of I feel like clicker games are generally pretty rough on the battery, but this is, like, as UIs go, it's very fucking basic. It's not really pushing the limits. It's just numbers on a screen. It's got some news ticker at the top, which you turn off because it doesn't really add anything. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I've downloaded it, so
nice.
Ready to check it out. Yeah. Okay. How's your Warzone going? You been playing much?
Yeah, played a fuck ton of Warzone. Mixed results, I guess. More hackers than I've ever seen. I was thinking about this. Maybe it's a good thing that Firestorm never went free to play, because obviously it killed Firestorm within days. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. The fact that it's free to play and the fact that, I guess, Infinity Ward appear to be incapable of implementing a decent enough anti-cheat means that Warzone is fucking inundated with hackers, and it is really, really pissing in my cornflakes. It's just ruining the game for me. Like, you just get to a point where it's like, what's the fucking point? Like, why would I even bother anymore? I can't. It's that classic cheater thing, right? The moment when you feel like, the moment when your first reaction is that seems sus, I feel like is never a good moment in a game, right? Like, or the moment when every other game you're wondering at the back of your mind, you're like, was that sus, or is that guy just good, right? If you trend more towards that guy's sus, that's bad for a game, right? Like PUBG, right? I saw a couple of hackers. I definitely saw a bunch of hackers in PUBG, but I never felt like I was seeing a lot of hackers. But Warzone feels like it is set up to make hacking work, basically. To make hacking fucking... Me and Nate got hack killed on the drop. An aimbotter popped his shoots and then cut so that he'd have his gun, and then aimbotted us while we were shooting. Like, while we were parachuting. Like, but sorry, I say parachuting, we weren't. We were fucking diving, right? It's not like, it's not like we were fucking sitting there having a fucking long drop. We were fucking diving, and this dude, and you could see, right, every single shot. I Alt F10 that shit so that I could get his name so I could fucking report him. And you can see every single shot hits. Like, that's stupid. Like, and to do it to two different people on the drop, like, come on, man. Like, these cheaters don't give a fuck. They just don't care. I had a game, I put a video up on the Call of Duty Warzone subreddit, where all the clowns are. My favorite place in the world. No, I put one up, and
now you're the head clown.
I'm the king of the clowns. I chucked one up there. I didn't put it on my Twitter because I say the C-bomb a lot in it, and I felt like it might not be, super brand friendly, I guess. But yeah, I chucked it up there, and this dude, we had a squad of 3, and this dude was our 4th. And I didn't even realize it. I don't spend that much time on the scoreboard, like looking at scoreboards. But this dude was landing ages away from us, and he'd die, and then he won his gulag, and then he landed ages away from us, and then he died, and I brought him back in, and then he died, and I brought him back in, and it wasn't until we got wiped. He was getting really shitty with us because he knew a squad. He was like, I went back and watched more video, but he knew there was a squad in his house, and he was losing his shit because we were like, get in the fucking circle. He's like, there's a squad in this house, and we're like, it doesn't fucking matter. Get in the fucking circle. And he was upset with us because we didn't want to go kill his squad because we didn't have ESP and aimbots, I suppose, to back us up, or I don't know, we didn't have a team that was constantly like, it's not like we did poorly in this game, but this dude had fucking 20 kills. We had, I think, 12 between the 3 of us. We were doing okay. We were holding our own. This dude was just hacking. Anyway, once we get wiped, he wanders in, and we're watching like on his screen, and he's like snapping around, like just blatantly aimbotting, like
yeah,
no fucking shame aimbotting. So we jumped on I jumped on the chat to like light him up about being a fucking cunt, like being a fucking cheating cunt, and it was flabbergasting how fucking bad he was. Like his game sense was for shit.
Yeah.
And he was just getting like, so yeah. He died four times in that game. How do you die 4 times if you got a like perfect aim and ESP about where everyone fucking is? How the fuck does that happen? You turd. You fucking useless shit. That is fucking mind-blowing. But that's the thing, right? Like, not only are they not capable enough to shoot on their own, to play like on their own volition, they're actually not even capable enough to cheat their way to fucking victory. The worst thing is that after like all of this, I went and had a look to see how he went, see how the team that beat him went, and they had a hacker on their team. They had a guy. He got out hacked, which is gutting. I don't think he got killed by the hacker though.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so there was hackers. There's just hackers all over the fucking place. And they've got to do something about it. They reckon they banned 50,000 accounts.
Well, no, they're up to 70,000 now. So this was yesterday, that statement where they said they banned 50,000, I think at the start of the month, and or last month, and then they've banned another 20,000 since that announcement. So that's still not a lot, because you think about it, that's 2 weeks, right? Where they banned 20,000 people.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a lot.
That's not
for a free-to-play game.
It's not enough.
When they're saying that they've got how many million players are up to? Like 50 million, 60 million, something like that. The latest number I saw.
Yeah. That is that doesn't make any sense. This is not enough.
Yeah, especially when like we're in there reporting players. They don't have an active reporting system that's any good. It doesn't seem like the reports when you report someone it's very quick either. Like we had that guy a week or two back when we all reported him, and he was still playing a couple of days later. And they're people that are like getting 25 to 30 kills every round with 50% headshot rate, stuff like that. And it's like, you can obviously see that this person is doing something dodgy.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Like, I think they're probably still a couple of weeks off at least. Maybe even a month before they sort out what the fuck they're doing. But this should be like priority 1 at this stage. There's 2 priorities. Increase the price of the drops and
Yep.
everyone else fix the cheaters.
That's it. Like they've got to do it. They got to get on top of it. ASAP. Yeah. It's a mad bummer. Like I don't know, man. I just don't like the doubt.
Right. It's the thing of we've talked about where, like in a multiplayer game, you can just sort of just leave. But when you're playing a battle royale game, you've sort of wasted 25 minutes, right, of your time, or 20 minutes, where that can happen. It's the time waste, the time commitment, of putting in all this work and then getting fucked right at the last minute, where there's no respawn really. Like, you're kind of just dead. Anywhere else, you can just leave.
What's annoying me as well is that all these hacker trolls are like setting their flag as China and like using China as their clan tag, and they're clearly not Chinese. They're doing it specifically to sow that discontent, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, why? What the fuck is the point? Like, what is wrong? Like, do you feel like you're some sort of arm of propaganda fucking tool or something? Like, is that your purpose in life? Like, fucking good lord, that's pathetic. It's super lame, and yeah, it's just dumb. The whole fucking thing is dumb. Yeah, like the guy in my one was speaking. He got fucking blapped. We came second because he couldn't fucking. He still got fucking outplayed because aimbot can only focus on one target at once.
Yeah.
And yeah, 3 of them shot him all at the same time because, who needs fucking game sense when you've got ESP and you can see all the fucking players coming at you at once and you still don't fucking move because you figure you can fucking aimbot them. Yeah. He was like speaking. He clearly had an Aussie accent based on his ping. He was probably in Western Australia. But he had a China flag. And so when I chunked it up on that subreddit, everyone's like, oh, Chinese. I'm like, you can hear him talk, dickheads. Like, what the fuck?
He's Australasian.
Like, fucking hell.
Did he have like a high rank as well?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of the ones that I've come up against have pretty high ranks, and I don't know if that's just because they're grinding so quickly through all this, or they've just played it so long they're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start cheating now.
It just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely something they've got to sort out. I saw that they put out another playlist update yesterday, and they've removed trios now again. We were talking about this last week. They put trios back into the game about a day after we were talking about it. So they changed trios to quads. So they had quads and solos, and then the Reddit or the community was complaining about them removing trios. So they added trios back in about 2 days later, and then yesterday or the day before they removed trios again and replaced it with an event mode where it's like shotguns and is it sniper rifles or something like that? I haven't really seen it.
Yeah, shotguns and sniper rifles. That mode is fucking terrible. I played it with Nate last night. What the fuck is the point of it? Like, so we landed and we both got double barrel shotguns, the 2-shot. You can't down someone with the 2-shot. Like, it doesn't put them down. What the fuck is... So you're better off not picking up the gun. You're literally better off picking up a fucking... Like, keeping your pistol instead of picking up that gun. So why the fuck is it in the game? What the fuck is... What's the point of it? If you're not going to fucking balance it correctly to make it work in Warzone, why would you make it like a fucking mode that revolves around it? Absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Maybe that's how they're balancing it. They're getting lots of data.
Yeah, maybe. And then they're going to finally fix shotguns because they're turds. They're fucking shit. Yeah. I'm just checking, and the first hacker I ever reported, absolutely one of the most blatant hackers I've ever seen, is still playing. Yesterday, he got a first place with 46 kills. So they haven't even fucking gotten rid of it.
Or maybe they checked it.
Sorry, just shy of 17,000 damage.
Yeah, maybe they did check it, and he's just got a good gaming chair still.
He's got
got
top
the
notch
best
gaming. That's what it is.
Yeah.
His kill death ratio is 6.3. Good lord. Yeah. Like, how is he still in the game? You know? What the fuck are they doing? Yeah. Oh, we've banned 20,000 more people. Cool. Well, okay. So,
are they doing these all manually or something? Like, what
8 million other fucking hackers are still in. You fucking dipshits. Yeah, it's cooked. It is so bad. And the other thing is, so the point I was making about fucking Firestorm is not being free to play, is that now regular Call of Duty is inundated with hackers as well. So because they realize it doesn't fucking matter. They can get away with it. So they just fucking do it. And so they're actively, like, making it free to play, making Warzone free to play is actively making the core game worse.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously people are making money as well.
Off the hacks.
Yeah. They're creating it, they're selling it, they're making, yeah, it's pretty shit.
Yep.
All right, anything else about Warzone you want to talk about other than the cheaters?
No, I had good games as well. That's the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
You have bad games, you have good games, fucking here and there, and yeah, like obviously the ones that stick out to me. That's, I guess, is what I was, what we said about PUBG is when the moments that stick out to you are negative more than positive, then that's probably a time for you to fucking bail on a game. But
are you saying something like PUBG 7.1?
They got a train or some shit.
They got the Apex train.
Yeah, the Apex train. We had some good games. We've been playing King, which is a new thing where actually works pretty well. We implemented it because Grey Squirrel is probably the worst team player of all time and was constantly running off without communicating. And so we implemented King and made Grey Squirrel the king. And the rule was that the king had to tell everyone what they were to do next. So the idea is that now, so the king is like, oh, well, we're going here. You have to do this. We have to get this objective. We have to go to this house. We have to, etc., etc. And the trick is that Grey Squirrel, because he's the king, has to actively communicate what we're doing. Grey Squirrel's solution for this was to have us run. We land in Lumberyard, which was outside of the circle at the time. I believe he had
where we didn't stop running,
and we ran from one side of the fucking So that's so. King has become everything to us now. It's how we play the game now. But we literally ran from Lumberyard. I think Squirrel had a fucking daily mission to pick up a fucking thing in Lumberyard. And we literally ran from Lumberyard, and the game ended in Boneyard, and we had to run the fucking span of the map. And every time we'd be like, can we get a car, sir? Because you got to call him, sir. Can we get a car, sir? Squirrel would be like, no, just run. And so we ran into, like, across, there's a big fucking channel, like a fucking sewer thing, like the thing they drive a truck through in fucking Terminator 2.
Yeah.
There's one of those. We ran down one side of it and up the other. That took about fucking 20 seconds of just being out in the open in a fucking line of waiting to be murdered. Somehow didn't die. Ran from that into hospital. From there, out of hospital, over a fucking hill. Continue to run. Just keep running. Run down the fucking hill. It was just a nightmare. And somehow we managed to get second. And that's it. That was enough. That made King a thing, I think. Because I was in on King.
We also didn't do much for maybe 80%.
We weren't getting into fights. If we'd gotten into any fights, we would have been fucked, though. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, it was full Mr. Magoo shit, where somehow we're just like fucking, we nearly fall down some stairs, but we move at the last second. And, like, I'm sure right? It would have been like this crazy fucking ballet around us of like gunfights, and we'd be like just sort of accidentally weaving our way directly through the fucking middle of them. Yeah. But like, yeah, like we're just like fucking blah, 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 straight through, no fights, didn't get any battles until right at the end. And right at the end, we got into our battles and we came second. We would have come first, but Squirrel fucked up. So, well, anyway, now we play King a lot,
right?
And yeah, so King, it's good fun. Whoever is in charge dictates what's happening, and yeah, it's very interesting the different ways people play, or the different ideas people have for what we're to do. I got deep dicked the other day. I rage quit because I was king, and right at the end, my entire team, we all managed to somehow get back into the fucking game. Like we all got sent to the gulag just before the gulag closed.
Oh yeah.
And so we just like that one where you just have to wait for the, because
put you back in.
It seems like, well, no, when the gulag, it seems like when the gulag closes, it doesn't automatically put you back in. But it can't bring any more players into the gulag. So you just have to wait the 90 seconds or so.
All right.
That's what it seemed like happened. It was weird. But anyway, we got sent to the gulag and then waited. And so we just basically had like 60 seconds where we were sitting in the gulag, and then we just got spawned back in 60 seconds later. And we probably after 60 seconds of not having to do anything or not having to fend for ourselves or move for the circle, we just got spawned back into the middle of the circle and then fucking landed. Anyway, I'm like saying, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna pull our money and buy Nate back in, and that's the plan. But LJM and Quest X went off and did their own thing. Instead, they abandoned the king, and that was too much for me. You can't. I'm the fucking king, boys. So that's how the king fucking works.
Yeah.
The other thing we're playing was Movie Director. Movie Director is pretty good. When there's only one person left alive, whoever's the king becomes and it's not the king. The king becomes the movie director and directs their favorite movie, which in one case was Tom was the last one left alive, and he gulag dropped back in, landed on a truck, and he had to drive the truck everywhere while honking the horn as much as possible. And if the horn stopped honking, we got into him about it. He had to reverse over some dudes at one point. He got two downs, and then he still managed to kill them in the most spectacular fucking failure I've ever seen. He drove into this he basically Austin Powers himself into this, wedged the truck into this tiny space. And these dudes running up, and one of them jumped to shoot him through the fucking door of the truck. Right. And just as he jumped, the truck moved backwards and turned I don't know, 4 centimeters left. But apparently that contact was enough to down this dude. And then the dude tried to crawl around the front of the truck. So he just while Tom was reversing back and forth the whole time, there's a squad shooting this truck, and he's just fucking reversing fucking Austin Powers, and he finally gets out of the wedge. But yeah, he killed 2 people like that. And the whole time the horn was beeping. It was fucking brilliant. I loved it to bits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found King and movie director to be very entertaining. Yeah. Anyway, that's about it.
Yeah. You mentioned you had someone shooting at you while you were parachuting. Nate and I had that happen. We did a long drop to Boneyard. You were in the game as well. And Nate's I'm getting shot at. So the idea of the long drop is you sort of pull your parachute out, and then you cut the cord, and then you pull the parachute out again. You sort of keep doing that. You get like a lot of speed, and it makes you go further across the map. And so we were doing that, but there was someone behind us, or a team behind us, and Nate was getting shot at, and he took a fair bit of damage, and then the guy turned and started shooting at me, and I got down to about, I don't know, maybe less than one like armor left, and I was just like, fuck it. So I basically bailed out of this. I didn't bail out of the long drop, but I started pulling it a bit less, and I eventually landed probably about 6 seconds before this other guy turned around and just started shooting him out of the sky, and he died in midair and then hit the ground, and I just fucking bashed him to death. And I was like, fuck you, man. Like, that's what you get for being a dickhead.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Well,
you gotta do the job, do it properly.
You gotta finish the fucking job. We land as like we hot drop on choppers, and the rule is every man left behind. Where if you aren't on the chopper inside of 2 seconds, like from when the pilot gets the chopper, they count to 2 and then they take off. And it doesn't matter if you're not on the chopper, you're fucking left behind. And then we just mince cunts. We just fly around mincing people. It is amazing. Although, again, Questa X, possibly the worst teammate of all time. The rule is that you're not supposed to shoot until the chopper pilot says so, because the shooting gives you away, right? Like, people will just sort of long float, but if they start getting shot, they'll start cutting so that they, don't get shot. But he'll just shoot whenever the fuck he wants. Yeah. It's fucking infuriating. You're like, what are you doing?
Button on the...
Yeah, you gotta fucking boot him out. But yeah. Anyway, good times. Mincing people. Holy shit! I used to drop with the sound still off until I was about 100 meters from where I was landing.
Yeah.
Because
so it used to be pretty loud. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't anymore because I want to be able to hear the fucking chopper. I want to know if that chopper's coming. Holy shit! I don't want to get minced. It's not how I want to go down. But yeah. Anyway. Good stuff. Good times.
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely keen to keep playing some more at some stage.
Yep.
All right, should we move on?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been playing Minecraft with RTX. So this is a new update that's coming out for Minecraft within the next day or so. Where if you have a NVIDIA RTX graphics card, you can experience the game with updated graphics. So Minecraft's obviously like probably the most popular game in the world right now. It's sold a bucket load of copies. But it was released ages back, and they haven't really done like a massive graphics overhaul on that game. Like, there's definitely ways to jump in and sort of create your own textures and that sort of stuff. But for the most part, it's this very like pixelated looking game that like is used to running like Java and all that sort of thing. It's had the very much same sort of look to it. And so NVIDIA's teamed up with Microsoft, and they're bringing ray tracing and all these like RTX features to Minecraft to give it a bit of a graphics overhaul. And I've had a chance the last couple of days to check that out because it's going into beta this week. And there's a few things they're doing with it. They're sort of incorporating three new technologies into this game. So ray tracing is one. Ray trace reflections is one of the big ones. Shadows and then lighting as well. And so if you haven't seen like what ray tracing is, it's used in a lot of films these days. Particularly like, basically anything. It's a way of like simulating lighting really well and reflections, like real world sort of the way you expect it to work. And the reason why we haven't seen it in graphics, in video game graphics, the last couple of years is because it just hasn't been able to be done. We haven't had the performance do it in graphics cards, and so NVIDIA a couple of years back managed to get this technology into graphics cards, and we've seen it slowly coming into games the last couple of years. For us, it was in our Game of the Year, Control, done really well in that one. But it started appearing in things like Battlefield, and Call of Duty, where they've really tried to incorporate that stuff in there. But I think Control was one of the big ones where they really went all out in terms of it sort of put that game.
It's Call of Duty, right? Like, I mean, I don't have an RTX card, so I can't be certain, but everything I've heard from you guys is that all it does is tank your frames and it doesn't add anything to it.
I don't know. Like, it doesn't tank the frames, at least. Like, I was playing with it with RTX on.
Right.
And I just didn't notice it. Like, I didn't know what was happening. Remember when I was having that weird bug where my frame rate would just tank? And I'm like,
yeah.
And it wasn't like it was tanking. It would just, like, on the spot, it would just get worse and worse over time. And I was like, I've got ray tracing running on here. And I just didn't notice it because I was getting a stupid amount of frames anyway. But they started off in games like Battlefield with just sort of like the reflections and that sort of thing. But it's gotten to a point where it's doing some really cool things and elevating graphics to a completely new level. And I'm a firm believer that, like, between this next generation of games, this is going to be a massive leap in terms of graphics fidelity on the next generation of consoles, just because of what ray tracing can sort of bring to it. You know, we're not just going from higher resolution, better frame rate. They're bringing in this whole new graphics architect overhaul into games. That has been put into movies. It's been like movies have been using for such a long time, and we're finally getting them into games. So I think it's chucking that sort of technology into the world's biggest game is going to be a really interesting test because it's a game where you don't really think about it in terms of how good that game looks. It's got a very unique art style to it. But you ain't going to go play Minecraft to go test your brand new graphics card, right? It's just kind of not what it's about. And so they're taking that game that's not very graphics intensive and being like, let's put all this crazy technology into it and see what sort of things we can do. And so they're doing those three things: reflection, shadows, and lighting. And they're going from Minecraft having two materials in a texture, which would have been color and opacity. So I guess how much you can sort of see through something. And they're moving to 6 different materials per texture. So it's going to be color, opacity, metallic, a normal mapping, which is sort of like a bump mapping, emissive, and roughness as well. So they're going from 2 to 6, which is a pretty big change. The way it really looks is, I don't know if you've managed to see any screenshots yet, but it still looks like
having a squiz now.
It still looks like Minecraft, but then you get things like the lighting involved, and there's a sun, like the direction of the sun is there, and that really affects where shadows and the lighting will come through on windows, and then how on a material, if something is a metallic block, like say the floor is a type of metal, right? And that'll reflect what's sort of around it, objects within the environment, chairs, you're able to see that stuff. And then on top of that, maybe there's like a red desk that's sitting next to the floor, and then that sort of color will be absorbed and reflected back into the world. So you'll see like little subtle hints about it, just sort of the way that the real world sort of works. And they're doing really cool things with glass effects and just the way that you can sort of see through that and how that reflects the light. And it's just a really impressive looking sort of technology that they're putting in there now, which is really cool. On top of that, they're also incorporating DLSS 2.0, which has only just recently been released a couple weeks back. We saw a bunch of games sort of trial this one out, and Control was one of them, and I had a chance to check that out when I reviewed the DLC for that game. And yeah, that like DLSS is really starting to be a very impressive technology. So that's using AI technology to work out like an anti-aliasing solution. And so it's taking a lot of the performance. Sorry, a lot of the sort of stuff that the cards are doing and putting it into an AI format and relieving a lot of the stress the cards were previously taking on. And they're doing a pretty good job in terms of the performance of that sort of stuff. So the numbers that they're saying for Minecraft, it's giving like a 1.7 times performance boost with DLSS on. So it's no longer using the graphics card to sort of run anti-aliasing. It's using the graphics card, but it's using this AI technology and giving you 1.7 times the performance that you'd normally use without that setting on. And so I saw that in at least Control working really well, because I was running Control with DLSS on, and when you switch that off, you can definitely see a difference in the fidelity of the graphics, but it's not a huge amount. They're definitely getting a lot better with that sort of stuff. And so as NVIDIA keeps rolling out these updates to these cards, like these are just driver updates and improving the AI technology behind these games, this it's going to get really interesting. And I'm sort of, we were talking about this in like our group chat, like what is AMD's plan going forward on these next generation consoles, because we know they've got some sort of ray tracing technology, but do they have the AI technology that NVIDIA has to be able to really use these cards well? So anyway, that's something that's going to be really interesting in the next couple of years to see what AMD is doing, because NVIDIA's doing a fantastic job with this AI technology in their cards. And so, yeah, I think it looks really great. I've had a chance to jump in and check out a couple of maps. At the moment, there's sort of there's a marketplace in Minecraft where you can download some custom maps that have been created by some of the top Minecraft creators in the community, and they're using all these new materials and textures to build their own worlds. And there's a bunch of different ones that are in there. I've had a chance to check out a couple of them, and some of them have really cool things where there's like they're doing like puzzles and tests with the lighting where you can flick things on and off, and sort of get a sense of what you can do with this new update. So looks pretty cool. On top of that, they're releasing like a bunch of tools and guides to help people work with a bunch of this new stuff, because you might just not want to create worlds. You might be someone that wants to jump in and create new textures and that sort of stuff. So previously what you would do is you'd create like the two that I talked about before, like the color and the opacity, like the two sliders you can sort of tinker around with. But now they're doing guides on how you work with normal maps, and if you want to make it look a certain way and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of guides and resources available to creators to jump in there and be like, all right, well, I want to try this out. Like, how do I do it? Like, they've gone ahead and published a bunch of material on how you can do this, and it seems to be pretty extensive. So that stuff's pretty cool. On top of that, there's like a conversion tool, so you're able to take your existing worlds in Minecraft and bring them over to the new version, Minecraft Bedrock, and that'll like update it. And there's a whole guide on there how you can do that sort of stuff. So if you're worried about losing your world, you're probably best off like backing it up and then taking that copy and then converting it across, because I don't think you can go from one way back to the other. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I feel like that's probably a thing that'll happen. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, as somebody who's not played a lot of Minecraft in a long time, I'm definitely keen to jump in and play with some people, especially once they start going a bit further down the track of adding a lot more features, because it's just going beta now, so it's very experimental, and it's only user-created worlds at the moment. It's not like you can go in and play like seeded worlds where it generates its own map.
Oh, really?
And you can start from scratch. You can jump in and create your own adventures and that sort of thing. I don't know if you've played Minecraft recently, but it's completely different from when we were playing it back on the day. There's a lot going on. People creating adventures, and I don't know what the difference between adventure mode and creator mode and then survival mode. Obviously, survival is like the classic way that we used to play. But
what the fuck is adventure mode?
I don't know. I think there's like
creative modes where you can fly and you've got all the fucking stuff whenever you want.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what the adventure stuff is. Like, if they've got their own sort of like puzzles that you can jump in and make.
It's a game intended for player-created maps, limiting some of the gameplay in Minecraft. Player cannot directly destroy any blocks with any tools or place any blocks.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So it's for player-crafted experiences, I guess.
Yeah. For people that just want to jump in and build stuff. So they're obviously going to be doing that at some stage, but in its current form, like as they're just getting people into it, it's purely you going in, creating your own worlds and
theme
creating
park.
your own
It's a
textures.
theme park mode versus the sandbox. That is.
Yeah, it's like the people that like playing, like you said, the theme park mode or the Sims, the people that just want to jump in and create their own houses and they don't have to deal with managing the people and all the things that can go wrong. But anyway, it looks really cool from that standpoint. I'm definitely keen to check out more once they start throwing in a bunch of those other features. Did you get a chance to look at the screenshots that they've released so far? Like the art on and off?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't really see the point. I don't want to play fucking adventure mode.
No.
And yeah, like I always think about, like I've got Minecraft installed, but the version of Minecraft I've got installed wouldn't even be able to play this.
Right.
Because I got the Java version. Can you even mod the Windows 10 version of Minecraft?
So
do mods work on Windows 10?
If you've got a Java version, you can get a free update to get the Windows 10 edition, as far as I'm aware. Can't you?
No, I got that. Like I've got the free Windows 10 version. I don't want to play that. You can't play mods on the Windows 10 version, so fuck it. It's not Minecraft. No?
What mods are you using?
Whenever I play Minecraft now, I always I get a grappling hook mod first of all, because it's amazing. It took me fucking forever to find it, and when I did, I'm never letting it go. Although I'm sure it's broken because the game's probably been updated by now. But yeah, grappling hook, all kinds of shit.
Right.
Mods for days. Sea life, although you probably don't need that one because they added their underwater expansion and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mods are what make Minecraft cool.
Yeah.
Not fucking fancy lighting effects.
We'll see.
You fucking you graphics whores.
Yep. Love it. Anyway, so you can check that out. It's I think you've got to sign up to the Microsoft Insider program to be able to do that, but there'll be a bunch of details released by the time this podcast is out that'll tell you how to go and do that, because at this stage it's not available for public yet. But anyway,
I just don't see the point. Like, who needs pretty Minecraft? What does that add to anything? What does that bring to the table?
it's just a graphics update, like for a game that hasn't been updated in a long time.
Which 11-year-olds have a fucking 2080 graphics card?
They're about to. This is the thing. This is how they get you.
This is it. They've finally found a way to sell $2,000 graphics cards to children.
Yep. All right.
And Luke's a pusher for them. Luke's pushing it hard.
I am. I'm gonna start my Minecraft channel.
Oh yeah. Oh hey, cats and kittens.
There you go. I'm gonna build a Tiger
King Minecraft channel. Gold. All right, what else we got? Receiver 2. Yep. Receiver 2 is a sequel to a game called Receiver.
Okay. It's a good start.
Sort of makes sense. It's a roguelike shooter, I guess. I guess you could call it that. The thing about Receiver was that it was sort of like Q-op for guns, I guess. You know, like it went way too in depth in the details of these guns, so that it wound up being one of these situations where, you know, you had to pay a lot of attention to what your gun was doing. You know, you had to manually put the bullets back into the clip, and then you had to put the clip back into, and then you had to slide the chamber or whatever the fuck. I don't fucking know gun terms. all of this shit, sort of, very entertaining. Wrapped up into a game that was sort of a little bit weird, narratively speaking, and basically just it was most like essentially a tech demo, I guess. I definitely spoke about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I remember.
Way back when I first played it. Receiver 2 is a sequel to that. Adds a bunch of guns, better graphics, a more robust storytelling experience, I guess. Better defined, better focused. As I don't remember Receiver 1 having that good a storytelling experience. It sort of just existed, and you just sort of did it in the same sense that you just sort of did co-op, This one has you collecting all these tapes. When you collect enough tapes, 5 tapes, and then 4 tapes, and probably 3 tapes eventually, you level up and you get access to a new gun, and the game gets a little bit harder. And yeah, it sort of tells its narrative through these tapes, but while also challenging you to get as far as you can. When you die, you lose all your tapes. If you're up a couple of levels, you'll lose a level. And yeah, your gun will get downgraded, and the game goes from there. And once again, it is a game that like has a co-op-esque like fascination with guns. So when your 38 special handgun is out of bullets, you've got to knock out the cylinder. Again, I don't know gun terms. Cylinder, and then you lift up the gun to shake all the fucking bullets out, and then you put the bullets back in, and you close the cylinder, and then you can shoot it again. And basically works like that. Or if it's not a revolver, if it's a pistol, you same again. Drop the magazine, fill the magazine with bullets, slide it back in, slide the slide, and you can like there are all kinds of button combinations, so you can like pull back the slide and see a bullet in the chamber, or like clear the chamber, or rack the slide to pop a bullet out, or whatever the fuck you want. There's like a safety sometimes. You can flick the safety, or you can pull the hammer back, or all this kind of shit. And Receiver 2 sort of works from there. It's more... I think the problem I have with it is that in a world where games like Pavlov or Horseshoes, Hand Grenades, whatever the fucking other H is, like where these crazy VR games exist, right? Because you can do all that in Pavlov or Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. And hot dogs, horseshoes, hot dogs, and hand grenades. You can like take apart a gun, but you do all that in virtual reality. That's the thing, right? In virtual reality, that shit's nuts. You like pull the slide back in virtual reality, and like you hold the slide, and it's not like in Receiver 2, you're like holding down the T button and then pressing R, and it will do this. And if you want to rack the slide, you tap R. Or if you want to cock the hammer, you got to like tap F, or half cock you tap F, and full cock to you hold F or whatever. In VR, you just do this shit, right? And it feels intuitive and makes sense, and you sort of just fucking do it. You put your gun away, you fill the fucking magazines up, you take your gun out of the holster again from where the holster would be, and then you fucking pull the slide and you're ready to fucking shoot, right? That's just pretty cool. Receiver 2 sort of feels really bland because it is, I guess, hindered by the fact that it is stuck in relatively old technology. It is a game where they're trying to think of like an analog. I don't know, it's like a foosball table if there's a TV with FIFA on it next to you, right? Like, they're different experiences. They're obviously different experiences. But if what you're trying to get is a realistic rendition of football, you play FIFA. If what you're trying to get is playing foosball on a foosball table, like if you want that foosball table experience, you can't go past the foosball table, right? But you wouldn't look at both and say, oh, I want to play football, let's play on the foosball table. Because it is like that, the foosball table replicates the concept based on the technology available to it, and having a direct contemporary there that is so far advanced makes it less appealing, or significantly less appealing. So to that end, I don't know, I wouldn't recommend Receiver 2. I wouldn't not everyone has VR. It's very interesting in how clearly they are enamored with guns. Half the tapes are just like in-depth details about guns. They just go into the history of certain guns. Here's why the 38 Special was invented. Here's why the snub-nosed revolver was invented. Undercover cops needed the standard police issue weapon type shit, and that's pretty fucking cool. And yeah, it does a good job of like building that stuff out. The guy in it has fucking. The guy in it, like the character you play, is basically Mr. Glass. If you fall more than 2 steps, like 2 steps worth of height, your legs will break. You just like slow to a fucking crawl, and a thing will come up on the screen and say, far worse than Call of Duty. Far worse than Call. Oh my lord. I've never played a game quite where you're quite as fragile as this. It is insane. You just sort of fucking crumble. Yeah, it's crazy. He's got like Derek Rose has better knees than this dude. Like, this dude is fucked. Yeah, he just sort of fucking, I'm broken. Oh, I've broken again. You don't die necessarily, but you like slow right down to a crawl, and shit gets fucking hairy. And the AI isn't all that interesting. You're mostly killing turrets. Some of the turrets fly eventually. But yeah, it's not like you're shooting people or anything like that. It's mostly exploration game. It's very light puzzle solving, and the modeling of the guns themselves that it's sort of concentrating on.
Right. Like being able to see all the bits and pieces of how the thing works.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't really do that much with that. It doesn't really go very far with it. The only gun I didn't like, that you get like a single action revolver. And single action means it can't, like, the pulling of the trigger doesn't lower the hammer.
Sure.
You have to fucking
cowboy that shit.
Cowboy that shit. It's fucking infuriating. Like, fucking, oh shit, there's a fucking flying like turret coming at me, and you're like, click, 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 fucking tap F to fucking do the hammer, and that only does half cock. And you're like, fuck, hold F so to pull it all the way back, and you fire and you fucking miss because the thing doesn't have any fucking iron sights or anything. You're like, oh, like, because when you aim, there's no crosshair, and it doesn't aim with the screen. You don't like sort of aim up and to the right. When you hold R and B, you aim the gun, and then it like draws over the screen. Like, you can point it to the top left of your screen, type thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, like, if you want to look up that way, you have to fucking unaim and then look up, and then you can do it. and that so it makes it more challenging to actually use the gun in that way, like because it's very easy to sort of point and click, but it changes your perspective, changes your viewpoint in that sense.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I don't dislike it, but I don't think it. I'm pretty sure it's like $20 or something, and I don't think it's worth that. Yeah, it's like $26. You get like it's a bit cheaper if you own the first receiver.
It's 10% off at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that. Yeah, that good.
Sure.
But yeah. Yep.
Sort of like
Anyway.
very gimmicky.
It is. It is.
Like, how can we make this something different 8 years later, but not really pushing it too far?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't do all that much with it.
Right.
It's entertaining for a little bit, but like it is basically a tech demo.
Yep. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Mm.
All right then. So that's Receiver 2 out on Steam.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We talked about this last week, where you had a chance to play through it, I guess.
Yep.
From the earlier release, the early Australian release, where the game could not be contained. You didn't like it. You weren't a fan. You had a lot of problems with it. Well, I don't know if that's you didn't like it, I guess. Did you say you'd give it a certain score, or like where did you end up?
No, I didn't say I'd give it a score or anything.
Right. But you're a big fan of the original,
yeah.
And so coming into this, you're pretty disappointed by. It seemed like there were a couple of things you were disappointed in, and then maybe the story overall you did not like, or didn't like where they went with it, the storytelling, something like that.
Disappointed might not be the word.
Okay.
I was largely disappointed, yeah. But ripped off is probably where I'd go.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
What's the past tense of scammed? Scrumped. I've been scrumped, Liz Lemon. Yeah, I feel like I've been scrumped.
Yeah. All right, so I've been playing it a lot the last couple of days. Came out here on Friday. It's now Wednesday, so I've been putting in like 10 or 12 hours every day since then. I don't have, as I've said before, I don't have any attachment to the original game. Never played it. I've seen it around and that sort of thing. I've played a bunch of the other games. There's a couple I've missed, but like the online games. But for the I think one of the solo games. I can't remember which one. But I played pretty much most of them and enjoyed them for the most part.
Sure.
The last one that I played was Final Fantasy 15, which came out about 4 years back, right? I had a lot of problems with that game, particularly the combat. Did not like the combat at all. One of my biggest criticisms about it with the combat was the environment, the environmental combat, like where it puts you into the place you were currently in, and you would have to fight things around your surroundings. And that became a massive problem in areas where there was like things in the way, whether it was trees or like just grass, basic stuff like that. And so I found that I had a really bit of a struggle trying to navigate that stuff while also trying to do the combat, because you're like, well, the camera's in, I can't really see my character or where these things are. I'm sort of just wailing at things. And it just wasn't fun. And I think my solution to that was I went back and replayed it later on, and I talked about it on the show. I changed the way the combat worked to be like a wait system in there. So every time you stopped moving, the game would pause, and you'd be able to decide what your next action would be. And that ended up solving that problem for me, because whenever I got stuck behind a rock or something that I couldn't see past, I would just the game would pause, I'd swing the camera around and be like, all right, well, what's my next move? And I started having a bit more fun with it. But I still wasn't hugely massive fan of that one. So I think it still had some problems. So that's my sort of attachment to the last game. I never got really into it. I never finished it, even though I tried like twice or 3 times to finish that game. I just never got anywhere close. In saying that, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't think it should be getting the scores it's getting at the moment. I think it's an 88 on Metacritic and OpenCritic for this time being. The lowest score is sort of like a 6, with the majority of them very high up in the 10s and 9s, sort of like mid 8s, and so that's kind of why it's landing pretty high on that list. But I do enjoy the game a lot. Like, I've played about 36 hours, 35 hours so far. And I'm really digging a lot of it, but there's definitely a lot of problems with it as well. The combat system, for starters, I really like combat system. I know you were having problems with it last week, and I think you missed something at the start, because you said you went back and watched like a guide or some sort of video of somebody that was fighting that boss. And
not a guide, just a dude who smashed it really quick.
Right, and you were like, realized that he was switching characters and things like that. And so I'm really digging that whole system. It definitely teaches you at the start how to do that. Like, there's prompts that come up and say...
Yeah, it teaches you how to do it. It doesn't put any fucking emphasis on why you should do that. It doesn't teach you that you should do it. It just teaches you how to do it. That's my problem with it, is that it doesn't teach you why, just how. And then it never properly it would have to put you in a position where the only way to progress is to success. Like, that's why fucking skill gates exist. That's why games, like good RPG games with good combat systems, right? What they do is they use skill gates to make sure you are aware of systems before allowing you to move on. That is obviously not what Final Fantasy does, because you can just brute force your way through that first fight and it doesn't fucking matter, right? It takes ages, is tedious as fuck, is exactly how they showed people doing it in the preview, in the first fucking preview, right? I learned it from watching it being debuted. So clearly it's not just me who fucking missed this shit, because they never actually teach you that you need to do this shit to actually win. All they teach you is, if someone is too far away, then switch to Barret. If they're out of range, use Barret. That's what they teach you. They teach you how to switch, and that the reason to switch is if someone is out of range. That's it. Right. That's it's a failure.
Yeah, well, I think the way they teach you is by putting in a text. They don't necessarily give you a game scenario, and that's their problem, right? Yeah. And so if you know that going in, that if you switch to different characters, the ATB meter builds faster, and that's a way of getting more spells off. Like, it's there in the text, but they don't give you any scenarios to like put that through the test. And so if you never end up using that, if you kind of just play the game as a solo, one-man show, then that's something that, you're never going to really learn, I guess. But yeah, once you get that idea and you sort of understand that system, I think it's really good and fun. It's extremely like fast-paced, but I like the fact that they sort of go back to the, you can stop the game and think about it when you want to pause. It doesn't actually stop the game. It slows the game down. So there's still some urgency there. You can't just sit there forever and be like, well, fuck, what's my next move? Like, stuff is happening in the background really slowly, and that can be, it may seem like it's not happening quickly, but you could be wasting seconds, which could mean that the thing you're attacking gets a spell off, or something like that. So I like that they, the game is originally a turn-based game, but they've sort of brought it up to date by having it be sort of a combination of both. And I like the thing where they've grabbed some of the past Final Fantasy game combat systems and brought it into this one with like the stagger system, and how certain party members are really good at doing certain things, and then that is another sort of incentive to switching backwards and forwards between these characters. You know, making sure that you have Barrett at the back line doing damage from far away, taking out some of the aerial guys, and then Tifa's up front, making sure the stagger meter goes up. You know, and then there's all these different roles that these characters are playing, and I think switching between them really quickly, like once it's gelling, stuff moves so quickly in that game, and you really got to think about like, all right, what's my next target? What am I fighting first, and then dealing with, and then where am I going from here? So I think there's tons of strategy involved in that combat system, which I like a lot. Like there's so much going on there, especially when you start learning like what the different enemies you're going up against are, and their weaknesses and strengths, and what they're immune to, what their attack patterns are. I found that assess is like a huge help in that, because it'll give you like a detailed breakdown of, here is the bio of this thing you're fighting, here's their move sets, what they'll do, and here's what to look out for when they're in different, you know, sometimes the enemies you come up against have different forms they take, and you know, this is what you kind of got to look out for. And so I've ran that materia basically the entire game. Every time I come up against something, Cloud fucking pops out, I do a bit of a read, I'm like, all right, cool, I sort of know what I'm in for now. So yeah, and then you just start learning like moves. I was fighting those fucking crab things yesterday that you come up against, and they've been kicking the shit out of me every time I come up against, and I found this like spell that I could use that just basically one-shots them, and I was like, all right, cool. I've solved that problem now. I can just use that every time. And it wasn't something that was in the text. It was just playing around, like figuring out, all right, if I stand at the back, I do a bunch more damage, like hitting it in a certain spot, because it's got like its shell is protecting it, and so if I stand in this spot, then it's doing more damage, and so I'd bring in like Tifa to uppercut them or things like that. It's just different. Like they throw you a puzzle, and it's like, all right, now figure out how to solve this puzzle. And I've really enjoyed doing a bunch of that. You know, they'll give you like one thing to throw. They'll throw one thing at you, and then it's like, all right, now there's two of them, and now there's two of them plus this other thing, and they kind of do that a bunch, and it forces you to learn like their movesets and how you should be taking care of them. So hopefully you get to the point where, you know, what was once a boss fight is now just, you're just destroying it super quickly. So I've enjoyed that sort of puzzle solving element of the game with the combat system, at least. Were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something. So yeah, really like the combat. It's a lot of fun. Having a really good time with that. It's very fast paced and a lot more enjoyable than the Final Fantasy 15 sort of. It was like a combination of 12 and something new, where you were sort of switching between different attack modes, like, oh, now I'm in attack, or now I'm in defense, or like a parry system. You're like switching between these. In 12 was like really big focus on that. I think it was 12, and then 15 was this sort of a bit more action orientated, and then this particular one has gone back to like doing a lot of moves and getting right up into things' faces while triggering spells and that sort of thing. I think it's a lot faster paced than some of the other games I've done, so I'm really enjoying that. The gear system, like there's a thing that just clicked with me when I was playing a day or two ago that I just didn't notice, because I was in that mentality of, when I get new gear, the old gear is kind of shit and I don't need it anymore. But then I started going back and realizing that, no, this gear is actually still pretty good. So I like that it's got this really interesting gear system where you can learn spells or abilities from this new gear that you get, and you get the proficiency bonus, which doesn't seem
the weapon skills.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be too hard to get. You kind of just use it a couple of times, and then it's like, it's unlocked now. That stuff is pretty simple. But it's cool that once you get that, it's like, all right, you can then switch to a different weapon. Like you're not forced to use that weapon anymore. But then you can actually go back and keep leveling up some of that stuff. And I noticed that things that you get that maybe you liked that you were using before, you can still keep using them and sort of spec them in your own playstyle. And so I've gone back on a bunch of my weapons. Like I switch forward and backwards constantly, because some of them at times will be more powerful than something else I was just using. And it's got this really interesting like like seesaw effect going on where, you know, you think you've got a weapon that's really good, and then you go upgrade one that you were using before, and that one's really good, and then you get some more points, and then this one's really good now. So that was just something I didn't notice until I was maybe like 20 hours in, and I was like, oh, maybe I should go update these old weapons, because they were just kind of accumulating points at that stage. And I never really went back and was like, what happens if I slot all this stuff into here? Like if I start boosting up the attack bonus, or get some more materia slots in there, or you know, extra fire damage bonus. And then once I started doing that, I was like, oh, this weapon's actually still good. Like it's the first gun I got or whatever, and now it's still awesome. So I appreciate that there's like this interesting gear system that's not just, oh, you got something new, that's the best thing that you can use now. Sort of similar to like not even similar. Like I sort of think about Dark Souls, and like you can sort of finish that game using the basic weapon you've got. You can kind of go back and keep upgrading it over time. But I'd never go to Dark Souls and then be like, oh, I'm switching between 4 weapons constantly. I kind of just find the best thing that I've got and eventually use that. Whereas this feels like every chance that I get to upgrade a weapon, I'll jump in and upgrade all of them, and then look at stats and be like, all right, what do I want to use now? So that stuff's really cool. And then the Barrett having the punching gloves, whatever he uses, he changes to like a cannonball.
That's so cool how it renders his fucking utility as the person who can do anything about anything ranged completely useless, isn't it? It's so good when you're like, oh, Andy can't jump to attack, so anything in the air, if you're using Barrett with that stupid fucking ball, he can't do anything about.
He's got two of them.
Yeah, he's got 2.
He's got like a claw one.
It's pretty sick.
I like it for crowd control. Like I never used it other than getting the proficiency bonus, but I thought it was pretty funny to like him just punching people, and then getting that ability and being like, all right, I can do that now for whenever I want. But yeah, I really dig the gear system, and I don't know if you noticed that, like going back to different weapons, because you were playing on easy, so I don't know like how, if you just fucking destroying people or like what the deal was.
Yeah, I noticed that you could switch back and forth.
Yeah,
because one of the battle challenges or whatever the fuck they're called, battle reports that you need to do is learn all of the proficiencies. And as soon as I got to Barrett's dumb fucking claw or dumb fucking ball on a stick, I'm like, oh, right, I need to switch back. And I'm like, oh, I could do this for all of them. Cloud could be using his proper sword. Yeah. But I just switched. I set all the fucking upgrades to auto do the most attack because my defense didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
And every time I clicked on that button to go to the fucking other galaxy, because obviously that needs to take 15 fucking seconds, I was like, oh, cool. Well, that's a fucking waste of time. And, none of the fucking buttons in here make any sense. I've got to switch between planets. Why are there planets? Switch between planets with the
you're in the
buttons and
the ball. The ball
and
is it's like Men in Black.
You can't go to like the one on the left. You cycle through them, but they're surrounded it. Just fucking make a list then, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Christ.
It's like some UI designer. Or UX? No. It's like they had a UI designer, but then they forgot to invite the UX guy in. And he was just like, look at this, I got planets and shit. And the UX guy is like out banging on the door, being like, let me in.
No!
Like, no!
Stop! This is dumb! So yeah, after doing that, fuck yeah, it's so fucking pretty.
Yeah.
And then so after doing that for like, I don't know, 2 weapons, I'm like, oh, hang on, if I press triangle, I never have to visit that fucking screen again. And that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly what
I did.
So there's some other moments in the game. And as someone who's not played the original game, and I haven't looked up on like any of this stuff. Like I've not read anything about it yet, or the game. I don't know what people are saying about it. But there's a really good fight. There's a Coliseum fight. Maybe midway through the first, maybe halfway. I think it is about halfway. Where you're doing like these Coliseum fights, and there's a fight in there that's fucking amazing. Like I was laughing so much at the reveal of this thing. It was just dumb. It was so dumb. I was like, this seems dumb. And then later on, there's like people commenting about it, and I thought that was pretty funny. Like explaining this stupid thing that just happened to you, and like your party members having a conversation with someone, like trying to explain what just happened, and then being like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" That's kind of the moment.
Are you dancing around not spoiling something that's halfway through the game?
Yeah.
How fucking hard out do we have to go to not spoil this game that we can't even talk about stuff that's halfway through the game and not relevant to the plot at all? Oh my god! So have you finished the game?
No, not yet. I'm still going. I'm at sector.
I told you you wouldn't fucking finish.
7.
Oh my god! So you're not even fucking close to finishing.
I think I must be close. I'm like
what
35
chapter?
hours.
What chapter? What chapter?
Maybe 15 or 14. I climbed the wall. There's a wall.
Yep.
I'm like working my way through rubble and stuff. I think I'm
4 more chapters.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of the way through that.
8 to 10 more hours.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's fucking
one more day.
You're a quarter off.
Easy.
So we can't talk about this game again. By the time I'm allowed to fucking talk about this fucking game, I'm gonna have forgotten.
It'll be next week.
Sure.
Sure,
it will.
Out for 2 weeks then.
Yay.
So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it. Still not a 9 or 10 for me. I'd probably go like maybe an 8 at this stage. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know where it goes. Some of the problems I've got with it is the thing that I noticed when I was playing the demo, and it's something you brought up. Like, well, you brought up the voice acting is not very good. I said I think it's the voice direction. I think it is the voice direction at this stage.
It's both.
Yeah, I think it's both because there's I think Tifa, the voice acting in that is really good, and for the most part, the stuff that she does is great. I don't like Cloud. I think like some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth and just the way it's portrayed is terrible. And that's something that I didn't like when I saw the demo, because it's like, is he always supposed to be this grumpy and whiny and stuff? And then the part where like there are things happening or talking to people and they don't feel like connected conversations. They just feel like they were reading lines off of a board, off of a book or something, and weren't given the proper like, oh, this is actually what's happening in the scene. This is what this other person's saying. And it's just like completely out of whack. But I think, Tifa is really good. She's the best out of all of them. I don't like Cloud. I don't like Barrett. He sounds ridiculous. He feels like he's in the wrong game. And then, what's her name? Aerith. She sounds like, I don't know. She doesn't sound like a 20-something-year-old. She should be 14. I feel like she's a 14-year-old kid trapped in an adult's body. And I don't like her.
Ooh la la. Wait till you find out.
So yeah, that it's just really weird. And so I think there's voice direction stuff here that's gone wrong. And it's just like, I just don't know what happened there. It must be voice direction. And then sound mixing problems. I think there's something going on with the sound mixing. I toned down the music in my game to like 6 because there were moments where I couldn't hear what people were saying because the music was so fucking loud. And I found myself just reading subtitles at certain stages because either the music was too loud or whatever was going on in the background, whether it's like someone's shooting a machine gun at you because there's a helicopter flying around and there's 2 characters on the screen talking to each other while this is happening, but you can't understand what they're saying properly because there's machine gun fire. And you're like, what? Whatever. So I turned the actual music down at that point. At one particular spot in the game, I turned the music off. And then there's a dance sequence. And that's the most awkward thing ever because there's no music during that dance sequence.
That sounds amazing. You should record it.
And it's a lot of like grunting and oofing.
Sweet.
And it makes it a bit harder because I feel like you're supposed to be doing... It's like a quick time event thing. And I think it's supposed to be in time with the music because there's no music. You're kind of just mashing buttons and there's people just dancing around and he's going,
It's not really in time with the music, but what really helps that scene is how the camera pans all over the fucking place, so you can never get any idea of
when you should
got
press the
never got
button.
a fucking reasonable perspective on when you should be pressing shit.
Yeah,
it's a really well done scene. Like so many things in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it feels like they really fucking nailed it. They just smacked it out of the park. Really, like, paid attention to how any regular human being would engage with, what was going on in the game. It's just a masterpiece, a masterclass of game design, and I totally understand why you're enjoying yourself. I can't wait for you to finish the game. If you're already at an 8, already feeling like it's an 8, you said you really like it, and you love the combat, and I can't wait to see where that goes after you fall down another 15 fucking platforms, artificially extending the game another fucking 6 hours. It's like you don't even know how far there is to fall yet. I can't wait for you to find out.
I haven't leached onto the original game, so I don't have that attachment that you do, where you're like, this is 3 hours into the original game. I'm still not there yet.
Oh no, it's not even that, Luke. It's just basic time wasting shit. I just don't like my time being wasted.
I don't think there's a lot of time wasting stuff.
I actually got started. If I didn't have to go back and record the entire game myself, I was looking at my videos, the stuff I recorded of Final Fantasy, and I noticed even in them that I had 3 sequences. It seems like I was subconsciously getting very upset every time I got fucking dropped and like wanged back for no fucking reason. Every time that would happen, I'd get subconsciously upset and then really fucking focus in on whatever awful bit of voice acting was about to follow. I already had 3, and I was like, I should go through and collate every single time this dumb fucking game artificially extends its fucking playtime for literally no reason. And then I was like, no, I'd just hate myself by the end of the recording session. Because, where do you stop? Where does it stop? You've obviously been, you went to the children who, with the Moogle medals and stuff. Is the entire sequence where you have to sidle through that, squeeze through that little gate? Is that a time wasting measure? Because it takes fucking 30 seconds.
It's not 30 seconds. It's like 6 seconds.
6 seconds, my balls.
It's a constraint on the technology they're using or the engine. It's definitely loading. It's for texture streaming. If you get the Chocobo fast travel system and you fast travel within a very close difference, so I guess there's a part they're sort of split up into like hub worlds, right, or hub areas.
Yep.
If you're able, you can fast travel from one point to another, and it won't actually reload the game. It'll just put you there. And at that stage, you can see it's not loading textures quick enough for the game to get there. So those points, I think, is an engine issue. Like, they don't have the resources available to stream in textures quick enough. And so that's why that stuff is there all the time.
What's that line from The Dark Knight? Just accidentally wasting my time. Mr. Wayne didn't want to deliberately waste your time. Oh, so he's just accidentally wasting my time then. That's what's fucking happening. It's still wasting my time, Luke. It's still pissing away my fucking time. Just because it's done for fucking loading reasons doesn't make it better. That doesn't make it fucking acceptable. That doesn't make the game better somehow, that it's accidentally wasting my time as opposed to deliberately. It does, I suppose, change the terms. It isn't deliberately wasting my time all the time. It just makes those times when it does deliberately waste my time worse. Did you feel like when you were wandering through, you've done this, you're cavorting through the sewers, following some dude, just a feet fuckhead, through some sewers.
It looks like everyone
and his key got stolen. Yeah. Did you feel like that was that was respectful of your time?
I think it's just.
Did you feel like they really? Hey,
I think it's just part of the story. It's not like I was backtracking. I was going to new places.
New places?
Or new places in the sewer. Like it's not like I'm going back to the start. It sort of goes off into the different direction. Like you're supposed to be going right, but it goes left instead.
You felt like the game was richer for the experience of you having run through?
Well, at what point do you cut all this content out and it's just a linear game?
Interesting question, Luke. Interesting question. At what point do you do that? Perhaps at the planning stage, when you are artificially lengthening 3 hours of game content out to 33 hours.
But that's like saying that
the game doesn't need to exist. You're right. That is perhaps what I'm getting at.
Like, Red Dead Redemption should be Red Dead Redemption 2 should be a 10-hour game, and they don't need any of the stuff. I shouldn't have to go to Valentine more than once. Like, I should get it the first time, and I don't need to do the other 10 quests that are there. It keeps making me go back to Valentine all the time. Like, why do I need to do that? It's the same argument.
It's not even close to the same argument. Not even remotely the same argument.
You just don't like doing the stuff in this game. How's that any different?
It's completely different because what you're doing in Valentine is character building. What you're doing in those sections is character building for relevant characters. Introducing some fuckhead at the top of a ladder and then forcing me to learn about his backstory. That's not character development. That is time wasting. Introducing and then dismissing characters is horseshit storytelling. If he had been with us the entire time, if it was fucking Jessie's story, if Jessie had the key stolen and I got to learn why she was such a horny bitch, then suddenly I'd be like, oh, fair enough. The sewer segment actually made some sense. That's fine. When it's some fucking character they introduced literally just to fucking extend the sewer segment for a bit, that's bad.
What if he comes back in like part 6 and he's like part of some secret faction or something, like the Puppet Man?
It's very difficult for me to go into why that is unlikely, but yeah, it's completely different. The idea that this is somehow okay. What about when you were fucking wandering along a fucking catwalk and the catwalk collapsed and then you had to fight your way back up? You liked the combat. I guess
what was that?
Oh, it happened 18 times. So I'm surprised that you can't distinguish which time it happened.
The only time that I can remember that happening is when you're looking for Wedge.
Looking for Wedge
in the secret base. Yeah. His cat takes you there.
Yes. That is one of the times. That's a good time. That's a good time that happened. What about when you're wandering through some streets and a helicopter explodes and very conveniently explodes to block off every single exit? And then you have to pick up a little girl that you never meet again. Actually, you do meet her again, but it doesn't matter. You have to pick up a little girl and then walk her to a sewer tunnel. And that walk alone takes 45 seconds.
Right.
That walk, because you have to walk very slowly and cunts keep walking in front of you. Does that feel like a rich use of your time? It's not like you're going in a billion different directions. It's not like you're learning anything, except that perhaps Aerith loves to carry children, I suppose. Maybe she does. Flowers and children, things she loves to carry. Yeah. No, you don't really learn anything there. It is there to piss away your fucking time. It does it repeatedly, over and over again. It's just like, oh, yeah, well, guess you fell down this grate. Guess this helicopter blocked off your. Oh, guess this thing stole your key. Yeah. What did you get out of the sewer sequence? Just quickly. What did the sewer sequence add to the game for you?
I got finished some side missions down there. I got some new gear.
when the thing stole your key.
Yeah. What
did you get? You opened up the Corneo gate and. So you technically finished that side mission, which was fantastic, by the way. I knew where that gate was I knew where there was a corneo gate, but I spent 30 minutes trying to work out how to get down to the sewers, because every time I went to move on with the game, they were like, you won't be able to come back once you do this. And I'm like, oh, well, then I got to fucking finish this shit, right? So I got to finish all my side quests before I move on, because the game is telling me that I have to finish all my side quests before I fucking move on.
Yeah.
Or that's what it's heavily alluding to. So I got to find the fucking sewer entrance so I can get down to the corneo thing, because otherwise I'm going to miss out. And I literally just fucking gave up. I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about this fucking game's pissing fucking shit cunt side quests anymore. Fuck it. I'm just fucking moving on. I'm just going to fucking move on. And that's,
you found it 10 minutes later. You're like,
and then it was right there. I'm like, oh, good. This has really endeared me to the nature of this game. Really fucking good design, cunts. Really fucking well thought out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So you completed that one side quest.
Yeah.
Which that was the only real way you could have, like, that was the only opportunity. I mean, you hadn't already spent 20 minutes wandering around sewers, so they couldn't have just dumped a gate on the side there.
Sewers.
Yeah, you did. You didn't just arrive at the fucking door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No opportunity for you to open up a gate and get a, what was it, a tiara?
Tiaras, 3 tiaras. Yeah.
But you only got one from the sewer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was it. So yeah, you got one side quest finished, and that's it. I guess some AP for some material.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing side missions and quests. I mean, it sounds like you want it to be a 10-hour game at this stage.
I did all the side quests, missions and quests.
Yeah.
I did them all. Yeah, it should have been a 10-hour game. Most of those side missions and quests shouldn't have existed. They shouldn't have existed. They added fucking nothing. They didn't build out the fucking world. They didn't build out the fucking storyline. Like, all they did was exist to waste time. Go and find the herbs to make this medicine. How did you do that?
I went and did the other quests that I was doing, and I found them.
Yeah, just by sort of happenstance, right?
I think that. Yeah, just
one of them you have to do a side quest to get the material. Did you know what you had to collect?
Yeah, it's in the actual. I think he gives you a list, doctor's note or something like that.
Yeah, you have to go to the item itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to the quest, it says ask the doctor for details on what you need.
Yeah, about halfway through that game.
And then you talk to him, and you're like, oh, wait, right.
The quest system goes really fucking weird, and it stops giving you...
any details.
Yeah, like earlier on in the game, it's like, hey, here's the area you should be doing this thing. Like, go kill these monsters that are in the factory, and it's like a giant circle will be like, they're in this area somewhere. And then when you get to that part where the game opens up in like a bit more of a hub area, where we're joining different places, it just puts markers on people, and it sort of gets rid of that entire notion of like, this is the sort of area you should be looking in, which is, it's just weird. It's like halfway through they just sort of switch it up. It's strange. So yeah, like I think once I get to the end, and whether or not I enjoy it, it's definitely going to swing. Like, it's not going to get any higher than an 8 for me. If anything, it'll drop. If I don't like the ending, or I don't like where it finishes, or if I feel like it's wasted my time, then yeah, absolutely, it'll probably drop a lot. But at this stage, I'm still enjoying it. Like, I'm not having fun with it. So that's why I'm still playing it. Like, I really enjoy the combat. I think the combat's maybe some of the best they've done in a Final Fantasy game in a long time. Since maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9. Like, I used to enjoy the 8 or 9 combat, and this is sort of back having that feeling of the scissor paper rock sort of effect, as opposed to this weird system when they're like, oh, you've got to, what stance do you want to be in now? Do you want to be in attack mode, or do you want to defend? And who, like, that stuff just wasn't wasn't for me. I just didn't like it. So that's I just never finished those games. And I think this is definitely gonna be the first one that I'll finish. Might be the first Final Fantasy game that I finish. I think. I don't know. No, I've definitely finished like 8 or 9, one of those two. So yeah, just in many years, I just never got into them enough that I was like, I don't think I'll finish this one. So anyway, I'm sure I'll talk about it more next week when I've gotten through it, because it'll be probably another day I'll be done, and then we can go on to spoilers and talk about the ending and what the future of this looks like, I guess, because they're obviously going to do another one. They've always done multiple along the way, so yeah, we'll go from there.
Yep.
Anyway, should we move on to some news?
Do it.
We've got a bunch here. I guess the big one that we've got from this morning, most of this stuff is this morning. Gamescom has pretty much been moved to a digital event this year after a nationwide ban on all events until the end of August. So I guess the biggest gaming convention in the world has been shifted to digital now. Yep. What exactly that looks like, I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out what participation will be like from publishers, because Gamescom is usually a pretty big event where we see some announcements come out of, and I guess from it being it was very much a public event as well. Like they would have these massive attendance records, and you'd do like 1 or 2 days worth of media, but the rest of it was sort of like a massive, come and check out these games and that sort of thing. So for them shifting across to a digital platform, like what will that look like? Is it going to be more like a PAX type of thing with panels, or is it going to be a lot of presentations from developers? Like, are they going to stream it themselves, or do publishers even bother doing that sort of stuff? It's going to be really interesting to see how that unfolds. But yeah, again, another massive blow to the games industry with the stuff that's sort of going on around the world. Any thoughts? Have you been to Gamescom a bunch of times?
Yeah, it's a pretty big one. I mean, Gamescom, was very much a tailored to fucking conventions. The public thing was always rammed. There's absolutely no way. There's no fucking way you could put that on. There's no fucking way. Yeah. You are like probably the most claustrophobic I've ever felt is at Gamescom. When you are in the press of public, you are like, you can't move. Trying to get from like one side of a room to the other is near impossible, because it's basically a fucking river of people. Like a flowing, raging fucking river, and trying to cross it is just impossible. But once you're in the river, you just go wherever the river goes. Yeah. And there are like huge moments where you just can't trying to get out of the river is near impossible at any one particular time. So you just have to wait until you see your opportunity, and then you double back some other way. It's like, this is insane. There's no way you could have it on.
Yeah, so last year for Gamescom, the attendance record was just shy of 400,000.
That's fucking.
You compare that
nuts.
to E3 last year was 66,000.
Yeah, and you go to E3 and you're like, there are too many people here.
Yeah,
and there are 5 times that many people at fucking Gamescom. And then the business side is like pretty relaxed and like just sort of you go into the business area, and you can get all your media stuff out of the way. You don't have to you go out onto the show floor because you're at Gamescom, and it feels like the least you can do is go experience all the public experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to get work done, you stay in the fucking business area the entire time, and it is pretty fucking. I think you could probably get away with doing the business area part of Gamescom. I think people could probably handle social distancing 1.5 meter rules in the business area. It never felt that packed. Yeah, it'd probably work. So it's definitely an interesting development that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, you could just never do at least the public version of Gamescom could never fucking work.
Yeah.
It is intriguing how it will impact the greater, because there are so many deals getting done at Gamescom, and in indie game devs get seen for the first time. They collaborate to get a little cubicle, that kind of stuff. Like, it's a pretty big deal that it is going away.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder. I mean, it's not out of, like, it's not done yet, is it?
What do you mean?
Major events until they will also affect the planning. So Gamescom hasn't called it yet.
I think they have, by saying they're doing digital.
Even though not all details are known at present, the nationwide ban on major events until the end of August will also affect the planning for Gamescom 2020. Furthermore, Gamescom 2020 will definitely take place digitally. We will provide more information shortly. So I guess what I'm trying to read into this is whether they try to find some way to have the business elements still go ahead. If they can redefine Gamescom as a minor event and just have the business section, I think they will try to do that, because I think it is vitally important to the European game scene that they have some version of it go ahead. But if a minor event means fucking 40 people in a room, then there's not really much point in doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is a developing story.
Yeah. I'm sure this will be a recurring thing over the next at least year, maybe longer.
100%.
All right. Next up, we've got XCOM, Chimera Squad. Chimera? I think that's what we'll go with.
Yep.
This is a weird announcement. So this is like a standalone XCOM game that'll be relatively low priced, about $10 US, 15 Australian, being made by Firaxis, and it'll be out in like 10 days.
Yeah, just sort of dumped it on us.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
I've seen some of the videos go around. It doesn't, like, it looks like an XCOM Lite, or they're doing different things with the UI, a little less convoluted. It seems maybe it could be something to transition across into like a tablet or mobile platform, or
right.
We know they've done XCOM on the Switch, right? That was something they did recently. So maybe they're just toying with different ideas to how they can bring it to mobile platforms, but it doesn't look the same as an XCOM. It looks a little bit different, but apparently it's made by Firaxis still. In saying that, Firaxis have multiple teams. I don't know if it's the same Firaxis team working on it. So, but yeah, definitely can you check that out. It's more XCOM. I've really enjoyed the XCOM stuff, so
cool.
That's cool. Next up, I thought I'd put this in here because we've talked about it recently. Rocksteady apparently pitched a Superman game to Warner Brothers as a follow-up to Arkham Knight, and Warner Brothers passed on the project. So this news dropped out a couple of days ago, and apparently this person that put this information out said this is the reason why that Rocksteady's next game has sort of taken a long time, because they were working on this Superman game for a while, and it just didn't end up going anywhere. Warner Brothers weren't interested. I think it's probably a smart choice.
Why is it a smart choice? What?
Because I just don't know how you make a Superman game good, right?
I'd rather we tried and failed than never try at all.
Yeah.
I'd at least have loved to see it.
To see what you can go see.
I don't want to see artwork. I want to see what gameplay they had in it. Like, what was their fucking plan to deal with the obvious problem? The easiest solution is to have old Soups trapped in a virtual land that's surrounded by kryptonite gas, but maybe they wanted to go a different way with it.
I think that an interesting solution to that would be you go back to him learning his abilities or like not knowing how to use them. Yeah, the Smallville approach. But I think the problem there was that they set up all this Superman stuff in, or at least teased it in the Batman series, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Superman was specifically teased. I don't remember, but there was a lot of like Gotham, sorry, not Gotham, Metropolis, Lex Luthor sort of stuff. But yeah, I think you can take it back to the Smallville and then have him not know his powers and learning about them. Don't give him flying until maybe late, and then go from there. That's maybe a way you could do it.
Yeah, or something to, I don't know, limit the sun. You'd have to do.
It's like an eclipse or something.
He's created a long eclipse. I don't know. That probably wouldn't work. Yeah.
I'll give you. Look, Lex Luthor. He's got this. He wants a lot of land. All right, and he's thinking about doing stuff with all this land. He's gonna block out the sun with it.
What a story! Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Superman game. I mean, the good news is potentially they incorporate some of that stuff into the rumored Justice League or whatever it is they're working on now. Maybe it's not a Superman game anymore. Maybe it's the Justice League with Superman in it somewhere. But again, you run into that problem of how do you play as Superman now?
Yeah. What's the challenge as Superman?
Yeah. Why is he not just?
If they can't even solve it in movies, then what the fuck are they gonna do in a video game where the player has agency to do whatever the fuck they want? Yeah.
Okay, so the last piece of news we got here is a report from Kotaku. It's titled 18 months after Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar has made big cultural changes. So in this one, it talks about like the crunch issues that Rockstar have had in the past, and they're attempting to fix some of those problems by restructuring the company, and have apparently removed a lot of managers that were causing these issues. And the actual piece talks about people that were planning on leaving that studio after the events of Red Dead Redemption 2, but have said that the changes are so drastic that they're sticking around because the work style is currently really good. Something to note out of that, though, these are obviously confidential or off the record sources, but they're saying that in doing so, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be a much smaller in scale game. They're saying it'll be moderately sized with updates that'll basically be added later on in its life cycle. So it's not going to be like a giant, what we've come to expect from Rockstar with a Grand Theft Auto 5 or a Red Dead Redemption, these massive 80, 90-hour games. It's going to be something a little bit smaller, and something they'll be adding to as time progresses in that game. Like what they do with GTA Online or Red Dead Redemption Online, right? It starts off very basic, and they keep adding a lot of things to it as it progresses through its life cycle. What do you sort of think about this change in shifts or change in tone from Rockstar moving forward?
I think it's a change that had to happen. At some point was inevitable. I am surprised that it is happening.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised that it's happening in what appears to be a really, what seems to be a painless way. Because it seems like this, the culture of Rockstar seems pretty core to the DNA of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so for it to shift so dramatically, you would think that it would require drama. And maybe there's fuck tons of drama behind the scenes. Maybe the house,
one of the houses
whichever one's left. Maybe his departure is what allowed this to happen. Maybe it isn't. Maybe he left because he just wanted to build different things. Whatever the change is, though. It had to happen, and I'm
Yeah.
surprised that it appears to be as painless as it is, because it's, I don't know, surprising to me.
Yeah, it was Dan Houser, who was one of the writers for a lot of those games.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting decision. I guess the thing that will kind of see how this unfolds is that they're probably not a stage yet where they're crunching or trying to crunch. They're sort of probably just building this game as it is. And that's something that was sort of in this interview / report, is that a lot of these staff are being very cautious about waiting to see once it gets to the end of the life cycle.
Yeah.
But at this stage, they're saying that like they're not having to work ridiculous amount of hours per day. You know, and I guess we'll see what happens. You hear about crunch a lot when games get to the end of their sort of release window, or getting close to their release date, and having to work really long days for 6 or 7 days a week. And that's where the problem sort of comes in. And it becomes more of a problem when they're like, all right, well, we had a release date. We've got to shift the game now. It's not ready yet. We're pushing it back 3 months. And then all of a sudden that crunch they were doing for 4 months is now 7 months. And then, oh no, we can't, like, we're not going to hit that either. And it keeps dragging out, and now you're crunching for a year type stuff. So that is something that we don't know. But the initial reports from these employees, unnamed employees, saying that they've seen a huge turnaround from management. So I guess that's a good thing. And I guess at the end of the day, that means we're going to get Rockstar games quicker. Like, we're not going to have to wait 6 years for hopefully a Rockstar game. Could be 4 years.
Yeah, true. As long as GTA 6 is still Vice City, I don't give a fuck. And if it's not Vice City, I'm gonna fucking riot.
What if it's just like GTA Online, and that's it? Or
only there's no storyline.
It's called GTA Remake.
Oh my god! And you just keep falling down. Stuff collapses below you. Things steal your keys. It's just artificially lengthened the entire time.
Yeah.
Genius. What a good plan. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great report. It's definitely worth reading.
Yeah, it's on Kotaku from Jason. All right, that's it. That's the news. That's what we've got. Anything you wanted to touch on quickly before we wrap up?
Nope. Let's do questions, shall we?
Yeah. You can leave us questions on Discord. thegapodcast.com/Discord. That's where you can go.
Nice. Which one is the last? All right. Yep. All right. Johnny Bravo writes, do you know what really grinds my gears? Esports casters, hosts, analysts, and other non-pro gamers supporting a streamed or televised event wearing a t-shirt and tracksuit pants. It's fucking lazy and disrespectful to the sport. If you watch NBA, MLB, NHL, and any other TLA three-letter acronym sport, the network team are usually wearing a suit and tie, or at least a collar. ESL LA is currently happening, and I've been watching some Dota 2 with casters kicking back on a couch wearing jeans and a hoodie, discussing how they only want 2 games of a best of 3 series so they can go home after their long, hard day. I mean, Gabe Newell introduces TI in a polo 2 sizes too small for him with tracky pants and thongs, but he's Gabe Newell. He can do whatever he wants. Do you think I'm being too critical? Do you think esports can stand alone enough for the network cast to dress casually to appeal to a casual gamer audience? Or do you think they should put a bit more effort into looking a bit more professional? This one's pretty fucking funny, JB, because I believe today a video is going to come out on Red Bull's YouTube channel featuring me talking about Rainbow Six in a t-shirt. They asked us to they got us to bring our own clothes, and the only thing they said that I had to be wary of was whether or not don't wear green. Yeah. So I'm gonna be, that one. Yeah, right. How good was that shit? Yeah, it'll be me wearing a t-shirt talking about esports. So I'm sure it's gonna JB's going to pop off about it.
I'm wearing a t-shirt and pants, tracksuit pants right now.
I got shorts on instead of trackies, but yeah, t-shirt, always t-shirt. What do you think, Luke? What do you think of this? Should they be trying to wear more, look more professional?
I think I don't know this particular event, ESL LA, or the I didn't watch any of it, but I think it depends on the type of event they're hosting. The one that comes to mind for me, Dota related, is like the Summit stuff. Where it's exactly very casual. It's in a house. Yep. I'm okay with them chilling out on a couch and doing it like it's very informal. Much like this show, we're not going for professional standards with nothing like that. But if they're doing these massive arenas with thousands of people there, yeah, I think presentations are probably important. You don't want to see someone, I guess, with a singlet on. But I think it's reading the room, right? It's trying to figure out what type of event they're going for. Maybe the event is called it's the Summer Slam, right? And it's people in singlets and shorts, I don't know, and sunglasses, and go for whatever it is. But yeah, I think you have to read your audience, right, and try and figure out what type of event you're going for. I've been watching a bunch of the 2K player tournament, which has been on ESPN for like 2 weeks now. So there's no basketball on, there's no sports on anymore. So NBA has put on a 2K tournament where players are playing each other, and it just finished the other day. I've been watching a bunch of that, and it's literally just two guys on a couch or playing basketball. NBA 2K.
Yep.
That is what they're putting on the screen, and that goes for like 4 hours. And you're like, all right, this is where we are. And then literally on the other channel, they had League of Legends on, like, both ESPN channels were showing video games, which is insane to me. But like that particular event was for charity, right? I think, like I said, you've got to sort of read the room and sort of figure out what they're trying to put as a product. So in some cases, I think it's okay. I haven't seen this ESL LA thing, but for the most part, I feel like ESL do pretty good for their presentation. They're wearing ties and that sort of stuff, and yeah, I'm okay with that. So whatever's going on.
It's interesting that he mentioned the NBA, because the only reason anyone wears a fucking suit in the NBA is because of racist fucking uniform policies that were implemented in the early 2000s, right? Because Allen Iverson and stuff kept showing up looking like a gangster, and all the fucking racist fuckheads in the middle of America were clutching their pearls because this AI was fucking balling out and showing up dressed how the fuck he wanted. And so now they implemented all kinds of fucking uniform regulations. And even today, we see players like doing their best to flout those rules. Like, Russell Westbrook wearing, I don't know, fucking
whatever he wants.
Bright pink garbage bag tied in the middle by an extension cord or some shit. Yeah, no, it's...
But that's just them walking into a building. That's not them going on national TV and hosting an event.
I understand. But I think it, like, for me, it sort of reminds me of the entire idea about fucking respectability and presentability in the first place. It's just a fucking, it's a ruse. It's horseshit. It's all built on a fucking foundation of bullshit. Respectability is just a trick. Being couth is a way for the upper classes to hold the lower classes down. I don't want to get fucking overly political here, but like, it's designed to hold us down, JB. I grew up pretty poor, and it was always a way to make fun of the poor kids. Is what clothes are you wearing? What shoes have you got? Why don't you have whatever? What's your backpack? Is that the same backpack as last year?
Pumps. Did you get the pumps, Joe?
I never had Reebok pumps. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, like, it's all a trick to pit us against each other over something that is ultimately meaningless. I don't care what people wear at the end of the day. I suppose there are only a few circumstances where it matters at all. I guess JB's a military man. So in those circumstances, you know, the uniform actually matters. And I understand why he might have a different perspective on uniform to me. But yeah, I don't even think you need to wear a uniform all the time. Only in work-related endeavors, you only need to wear a suit in very, very certain circumstances, funerals. I'm not even convinced you need one in a wedding.
You just wear whatever you want.
It is like the concept of respectability is built literally off the back of where the respect is supposed to go. And I don't know that casting a Dota 2 match is necessarily a spot where you need infinity respect. On the flip side, while I have personally hoped against hope for a quick 2-0 in a best of 3 when I've been at events for some esports that I don't like as much as others. I have definitely been in that situation where I've personally and quietly hoped for the quick 2-0. I don't think casters should be saying it on cast. Get the fuck out of here. Everyone who wants to watch more, if it's good Dota, everyone wants to watch as much as possible. We should be hoping for fucking 5 games
Says
of
the guy
great
who
Dota.
talked about random shit the first 15 minutes of this podcast.
Me? You were... Don't fucking heap that guilt on me. You're just as guilty as I am. But no, like seriously, yeah, they shouldn't be saying that on cast. That's different though. That's not what they're wearing. That's their actions. You know, presentation and actions are different things. And yeah, no, they shouldn't be saying that shit. But I don't think it's tied to what they're wearing. They could be saying that wearing a fucking blazer, and it wouldn't, like, it'd still be not on, in my opinion. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
The clothes don't make the man. Fuck what's his face from Kingsman. Clothes maketh not the man. The man maketh the man. Or maybe that was the point they were trying to get across in that film. I don't know. Okay. Good question, JB. We've gone pretty deep on that one. Dan Gaz writes, do you know what grinds my gears? People spelling it esports or esports is obviously esports, as we all know that Apple naming conventions are the only true laws of the universe. Not seeing a question here, dangers. And secondly, I don't know if that one translates well to the spoken word.
Yeah, I'm looking this up because I'm very confused.
He spelled esports correctly twice, and then he spelled esports with a capital S just to upset me, I think.
There's none in there with a dash. Could have been.
There isn't. Yeah, we did skip the dash. P.S. Joab, where do I find the last power cell on Misty Island and Jack and Daxter the Precursor Legacy? Just need one more and I can escape this game franchise forever. Wait, is Dangers over Jack and Daxter? Is that what we're getting out of this? Escape this game franchise forever. Have we been party to the tortured rantings of someone who couldn't stop playing Jack and Daxter games until they finished them all? Until they 100% completed them all? Because if that is the case, wasn't the Precursor Legacy sort of the Bubsy 3D of the PlayStation 2 era? And if that is the case, I don't want to know, and I don't want to hear about it. And I hope you never find it.
Right.
Medium question, dangers? Medium question. Fridge Monster Man writes, hi, Luke. Hi, Joab. How are you? I'm well, thanks. We didn't ask. Since the Final Fantasy VII Remake has come out, I've seen a few videos comparing the remake to the original, and oof, those polygons, those character models. When I look at early 3D games, I sometimes wonder if the industry made the jump to 3D rendering too early. I mean, we had to start somewhere, and maybe we wouldn't have the fidelity we have now if it weren't for those early pioneers. What if gaming had stayed in the 2D space for a bit longer and made the jump to 3D when hardware was beefier? Are there any games from this earlier 3D graphics era that still hold up today? Okay, a couple of questions in this one.
Yeah.
Did we jump to 3D rendering too early? No, I think we had to, like, it had to start somewhere, right? Like, it had to, it had to begin somewhere. I think if you look at, like, Mario 64, right? You don't even see, like, that one uses the art style in such a way that it doesn't feel like, it feels almost timeless. I think the bigger problem with these older games is resolution more than anything, right?
Sure.
Because if you were to look at fucking Mario 64 now, blown up to fucking onto my 1440p monitor, it looks heinous more as a result of the fucking resolution than it does as a result of the graphics, right?
Right.
And I think that is more the case than anything. And so from that perspective, I think that means that we didn't jump to 3D models too early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the goofy fucking boxes and triangles of Final Fantasy VII, I actually don't hate them. When, like, the last time I played Final Fantasy VII Original was on the PSP, right. And that's it, right? Because the PSP is, you know, in this tiny thing in your hands, that resolution is naturally lower, and so you don't notice the polygons too much. And, you know, you're not, I think most of the time I just didn't pay that much attention to the models themselves. I don't think it mattered. Well, at the time,
sure,
it was fantastic. Like, those graphics were fantastic. Like, I'm thinking about, like, Metal Gear, right? Metal Gear Solid, right? Took us to 3D, and you look at it now, and it's kind of ugly, especially if you compare it to, say, Metal Gear Solid 5, or, you know, the one redeeming feature of Death Stranding, which is, you know, its graphical fidelity. But even still, right, like, if you look at, you know, Metal Gear Solid 2 looked way better than Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 3 looked slightly better than Metal Gear Solid 2. And then 4 was a massive leap over 3. 5 was a giant leap over 4. And so, if, like, but at the time, we just see it relative to what we've seen at the time, you know? So I don't think, you know, going back and looking is necessarily the fairest way to do that comparison. I think it's a bit of a rough measure to directly compare Final Fantasy VII Remake with Final Fantasy VII.
Because, like, I was gonna say, you look at stuff not even related to video games, but you look at, like, movies, and where we went with movies and 3D visuals in that. You look at like Star Wars Episode 1, right? And how good that thing looked back then. But you go watch that now, and there's stuff in there, particularly like the Gungan fight at the end, and it looks like it's being done on a computer. You're just like, oh, okay, fair enough. But at that time, you haven't really seen anything like that before. And that's always going to be a thing that happens, is as we get more used to the medium or seeing things that look good, eventually stuff is going to start looking not as great, but then there are things that hold up because they're done differently, or they're stylistically done in a different form. And I
can't remember what I was watching, but I saw there was something we were watching. I was watching where it was like, probably, you know how CGI helicopters are always really easy to spot out. Right. I find them so easy to work out when it's a CGI helicopter. I don't know what it is.
It's probably how they move, like the weight behind them.
Well, that's what gave it away this time, because I was looking at this helicopter in this film, in this movie, and I thought to myself, "Fuck, I can't tell if that's if that's a real helicopter or not." And then as soon as it moved, I'm like, "Oh, yep, CGI. Don't worry about it. We're good. That one's CGI." It's like the Uncanny Valley works in so many fucking weird ways. Like there's so many layers to evading the Uncanny Valley, and it's so tricky. And yeah, I don't know if we'll ever fully get past it, but yeah, like for now, you just have to sort of take it as it is at the time. I think that's why, though, generally I prefer practical effects. The Thing holds up, right? Because it's all practical effects. If you watch the Thing remake, where they opted for all CGI, it already looks like shit. And I think that's a pretty fucking great comparison right there. Although it's got nothing to do with 3D rendering. We've sort of taken this one in our own direction. Graphics-wise, I don't know that there are any games from the early 3D era that hold up graphically today. But I don't think it impacts the gameplay all that much, which is all I ever really care about, I guess.
And that's why they're remaking a lot of games, right? You get to play those again.
No,
Capcom's going through the whole fucking list.
No, they're remaking all those games because they are shamelessly plundering nostalgia because they've run out of real ideas. Or in some cases, cynically plundering nostalgia to rip people off of money. But I can't go into why until next week, apparently. So, yeah. Anyway, I think
I think Quake is probably still one of the best looking 3D 3D games. When did Quake come out? I'm thinking Quake 3 actually.
What about Quake 2 RTX on?
Quake 3 was 99. There you go.
That is smack bang in the middle of it. Quake 2 RTX on. Fuck, that game looks fucking pretty. It looks pretty. Why haven't they done Quake 3 RTX? Oh my god, they have. I'm watching this. I'm watching it right now while we podcast.
All right.
Oh my god.
It's good. It's good. It's good podcast.
It's great podcast contact.
Yeah.
And that's great. That was
anyway,
great.
Good question. I feel like I don't remember what was the name?
It was. Sorry, I had the Quake. Fridge Monster Man.
Okay. Cool.
Good stuff, Fridge Monster Man. Good question.
Yeah.
We went some places with that.
We did. It's always interesting looking back at some of those older games and be like, oh, yeah, that was an ugly game. But you think about it, and it was like one of the best things you've ever seen back then. Like when you talked about Mario 64, I remember the first time I saw that game. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This looks amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Or like GoldenEye, and you're like, holy shit, that's just Scene Bean.
Yeah.
Like, that's straight up Scene Bean. How the fuck?
How he's in there and there's Pierce. What is going on?
Go.
We get there.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the questions. If you want to find us on the internet, you can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, Podbean, everywhere you can get your podcast apps these days. You can find us under the Gap, the GA Podcast, the Gap Podcast. All of those excellent names will show up. If you'd like to send us questions, you can email us thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, which is thegapodcast.com/Discord, and that has a bunch of different channels we've got going in there. You can play video games. Joab's been carrying people to victory royales. I don't know what they call it. Winners.
Helicopter rides.
Victory wins. Helicopter rides. Yeah. They should say that. Like, it should be on the bottom of the screen. You win a helicopter ride.
You win the helicopter ride. Yep. You got to the chopper. That's what they should. Oh my god.
You got to the chopper. Yes. So you can find that on our Discord page if you want to jump in or leave us questions. You can do that. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/GA podcast, twitter.com/GA podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, thegapodcast.com/YouTube, and also watch us on video there. I put some stuff up last week. I can't even remember what was on there. I feel like it was...
You're really selling it.
Some Warzone content of us getting some wins.
Sweet.
And maybe some other stuff. I'm looking back at the list last week. Oh, Borderlands? Or was that the week before? I scrolled down too far.
I don't know.
I scrolled down too far. Yeah.
Classic.
No, it was just Call of Duty stuff last week. And Green Hell. I put up like half an hour of Green Hell.
Sweet.
We had a lot more, but we didn't talk about Green Hell for more than the footage that we had. So
right.
Hopefully we'll get to that a bit later on. But anyway, you can find us on YouTube if you'd like to watch us there as well. You can also find our website, which is thegapodcast.com. It's got links to everything we talked about today on the show, including past episodes of the show. And you can also find us on Podbean as well, if you'd like to find us on that, which is where our new hosting is for this show. And that's all thanks to our Patreon members who are helping put this on every week. So thank you to them. You can go to patreon.com/GA podcast if you want to help support the show.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for the new hosting. It means that our website won't crash, hopefully.
Won't fall over. Yeah.
Every time people try to download
it. And it gets pushed out as soon as Luke pushes it, instead of it fucking 9 years having to go through me. 10 years. 10 years. For 10 years it's had to go. There's been a step where I've had to get the file somewhere and then get the file from there into the RSS feed, and that no longer you're one step away. You've done so well, Luke. You're one step away from removing everyone from this podcast entirely except for you. You're right there. You're so close.
So close.
It's like one of those a taunting, like, if you can just outlast me, you'll have won the podcast.
Well, I've got an AI that's actually been listening to the show, and we're getting close to doing the Joab AI, and then we just don't even need you anymore.
No, that'll be perfect.
It'll just be this AI talking about how he hates every single game, and we just run it over the top of everything.
Yeah, it'll be indistinguishable. Just like, and he, instead of ums or ahs, he just says fuck, and occasionally drops a C-bomb.
Yep.
Easy clap.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, thank you to our patrons.
Absolutely. Patrons. Yes. I think that's the show. You got anything you want to pimp out for this week that you've been working on?
Like I was saying before, head to the Red Bull Gaming YouTube page. Probably by the time this comes out. I don't know. They keep pinging me they're like, oh, you've got to promote it. We'd love it if you could promote it on your socials. I'm like, I can't see it. Like, I can't fucking... I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what it... Like, please tell me any details at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a Red Bull response. Basically, Red Bull Twitter asked a bunch of questions, and people answered those questions. And then we responded to those answers, I suppose, on behalf of Red Bull. So Red Bull Esports, or Red Bull Gaming's Twitter, asked the questions. So this episode is Rainbow Six Siege, and I believe I give G2's Kanto Raketti some shit about his performance at the Invitational. I don't know if that made the cut or not, but I definitely did it in the shoot for it. And the other guy, so they do it, two of us, me and Raven, one of the casters from ESL. He was thrown when I was giving Kanto Raketti shit, but whatever.